Oh, we comfort able, sis? Yeah, we comfort able. First, we're going to start off by defining what comfort is. So, it is a state of physical ease and freedom from pain or restraint. A lot of us may be unfamiliar with this state, but we're going to get there. Able, it means that we have the power, skill, means, and opportunity to do something. When we combine them both, it basically means that we have the ability to provide physical ease and relaxation to ourselves and to others, but primarily to ourselves, because that's where we're going to start. We can find comfort in the storm. So my name is Anika Leonard. I am the CEO of Priceless Insight, and I know a lot about finding comfort in the storm. Let me tell you, sis. So my pandemic started in 2019. It was a hell of a year. It's as like, I mean, I know that we understand, as Black women, that we can go through some things and we will never look like what we've gone through. And so in 2019, it's just like all hell broke loose in my life. Well, really 2018, but 2019, it also, continued to break loose, I should say. And so I was dealing with basically being stripped down. I mean, I'm talking dealing with chronic pain and fatigue from 4 different conditions, right? Having surgery and having complications from those surgeries, having to advocate for myself in the healthcare setting, like just having really demeaning and dehumanizing experiences while in an incredible amount of pain and having no one believe me. Dealing with my community, not recognizing that I needed some assistance. And some recognized that I needed some assistance, but I really had to advocate for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like really step outside of my comfort zone. And just a myriad of other things, right? Like navigating who I was outside of the things that, and the people that people wanted me to be and who I'd always shown up as. So being stripped from, being houseless, for the last 3 or 4 years, losing my car. I mean, when I tell you all finding comfort in the storm, I mean finding comfort in the storm. I am here to tell you that it is possible. And I'm also here to tell you that it ain't easy. So I'm going to share with you some of the steps that I have taken in finding comfort and knowing that and understanding that I am comfort able. So one of the things that I really needed to unpack was I comfortable and am I comfortable feeling pleasure as much as I was comfortable feeling pain? Because one thing for sure and 2 things for certain, I'm definitely comfortable feeling poor, feeling like a victim, feeling, and I came to talk today. I don't know about y'all, but I came to bear it all. I came in freedom and liberation. So I'm going to say what needs to be said about my journey, and hopefully you can find some truth and some things that can help you along yours, right? So am I comfortable feeling, like relaxation as much as I'm feeling as much as I'm comfortable feeling exhaustion? Am I comfortable? Like we can fill in the blank, which is why that underline is there. Are you comfortable feeling the good things in life? Are you comfortable feeling luxury as comfortable as you are feeling struggle? That's what I'm here to talk about on today. There are messages all around us. So during my journey in being comfort able, in recognizing that I was comfort able, I had to recognize that, my messages came in a myriad of ways. They came through people, they came through books, they came through TikToks, they came through memes, like they came in a variety of ways. And so, like for us to be to a place in a state where we are comfort able, we have really got to be able to recognize that those messages, like when we cry out for help or when we are seeking help, when we have no words to cry out, when our tears cry out for us, we have to understand that sometimes those messages are going to come in the form of young people saying things to us, like just insights and revelations. We get goosebumps, someone says something and it speaks to our spirit. It is speaking to our experiences. These could be people, family, friends, like I said, social media, memes, things of that nature. So like messages are coming from all around us. And what I'm going to do is share some of the messages that have come to me throughout my journey to becoming comfort able. So one of them was like, and this one kind of snatched me off. You don't have to heal aggressively. And one thing about me, like I said, I was used to the struggle. I'm used to the victimhood. I'm used to, like blaming myself for everything that has happened in life. You know what I'm saying? That's something I adapted from adverse childhood experiences, things that like basically developed into my core belief when I was really young. So what I had to do is to realize that I don't have to always learn hard lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that as a Black woman, I'm even socialized that it has to be hard. It has to be rough, but no, we can give ourselves grace. We can slow down. We can say enough is enough. We can take space. We can do all of that. We do not have to heal on an aggressive track. It does not have to be healing, healing, healing all the time. We can take some time out for ourselves, and we could be gentle with ourselves. Another thing is that we can own our mistakes and learn from them. I don't know about you, but one of the things that like an identity that I developed in a behavior and characteristic that I developed around experiencing so much trauma in my life is that, like basically, I think I said it before, when things happen, it was always like my fault. I also, kind of got caught in this, like I shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of mentality, like I always wanted to go back and, or I would be in the moment and think about, like what I'm going to do next time. And in that moment, I was robbing myself of what I was doing at that moment, and robbing people who were engaging with me of me being fully present, and robbing myself of being fully present and taking in all that moment was, you know what I mean? And so like our mistakes are our mistakes. We can learn from them. One of the things that a good Facebook friend of mine, his name is Jeremy Triplett, he instructed us to say, like write down all the things that you think are your mistakes, and or in that moment, if you think you've made a mistake and you are probably doing some journaling processes or something, like write down your mistakes. And then as you're writing them down, pretty much like make a list of them, pray and or meditate on them. And then as you're praying and meditating on them, ask how those mistakes can serve you. That's one way to move up out of that guilt, shame, blame kind of cycle that we sometimes get caught up in. And that's one way that helped me. I spent so much time, being terrible to myself, talking down on myself, shaming myself. And I didn't realize that those are the cycles that kept me stuck. And those are the cycles that I wanted to break out of. And so that's where, Alex Hill, like Black Women Stay Teaching. And Alex Hill, if you're not following her on Instagram or any of her social medias, please do, because she's going to get you learned on today. Uncle Clifford rule number 224.5. So I believe Uncle Clifford's rule is no crying in the paint. Okay. And so for those who know, and if you don't, Uncle Clifford's basically saying, don't cry, suck it up. And what I'm going to tell us is, like we're going to ignore Uncle Clifford rule number 24.5, because we need to cry. There are times where we need to cry. And, sometimes people are not going to be comfortable with us crying because they are not comfortable with owning and accepting some of their own stuff, right? And so we're going to ignore that because we're going to cry when we need to cry. That's how we get to being comfortable. We need to cry when we need to cry. Let them tears fall where they may, sis. Let them fall, because it's healing in our tears. And that's where the healing resides, in our tears. So let them flow. So Uncle Clifford rule number 51,081. Don't try to be everyone's cup of tea, because you ain't gonna have none to sip for yourself. And so Uncle Clifford, full of wisdom. And I wanted to include this because balance, right? Like balance is very important. And in addition to crying and letting that stuff flow up out of us, because sometimes we get stuck because we let it hold, we hold on to it. We hold on to those emotions, and we need to work those emotions up out of us. And some of those other things we need to work out of us is trying to be everything to everybody. And I know we got that bad sometimes, and it's so ingrained in us that we don't even realize that it's like, like we're operating out of that belief that we need to be everything to everybody. No, we need to first and foremost show up for ourselves. That's how we get to the ability to be comfortable, showing up for ourselves first, and realizing that everybody is not going to like us, and we're going to have to be comfortable with everyone not liking us. Don't forget about our sisters, okay? We have a community that we can ask for help. And if we find that our community is not responsive to our needs, we can always, always, always seek out additional community members. Like I know I found some of my tribe in this Blaze network. I hope that you are able to find some of yours too. Reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out and find and make those connections with folks, right? Like we have no idea what's waiting for us on the other side, because a lot of times in this entrepreneurship journey, we are doing things that have never been done in our families, in our friendship circles, you know, and sometimes when that happens, you end up losing some people along the way. But know that nothing that you have lost is going to just stay lost. Like you would be replaced, it would be replaced tenfold. You know what I mean? And so always, always, always on your path to being comfortable, remember your sisters, bring them along with you and find new ones along the way. And so who are you outside of other people's expectations? In the work that I do, there's this exercise that when basically I work with young people. And so in this exercise, it is asking, who are you? And you ask, who are you, repeatedly until you get to the meat and the root of who you are. And so most times when people start this exercise, they talk about who they are outside of themselves, right? I am a mother, I am a sister, I am a granddaughter, I am a daughter, you know, like all of these things, right? And then it takes some time for us to get to the root of who we really are. You know what I'm saying? Outside of other people's roles and or expectations. I'm expected to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? But it's my responsibility to let my children know that I'm a woman first, that I am a person first, that I am a Nika first. Before I am your daughter, before I am your mother, I am me. And so like it's to get comfortable, I had to unpack who I was to everybody else to get to who I am for me and who I'm supposed to show up in this world as, and what gifts I'm supposed to restore and to behold to the world. So I don't know about y'all, but these memes be snatching my whole entire life. They be coming in, like I said, these messages be coming in. And so I was in a place where I was trying to, you know, like basically double back on some behaviors that I had, because I was really, you know, basically trying to make people feel comfortable, make people feel safe, which I have a tendency to do because I want everybody to be comfortable, right? But sometimes we have to be okay with people not being okay. And especially when it's time for us to make our boundaries, to set our boundaries. People are not going to be they are not always going to be comfortable. We got to be okay with that. People, sometimes we're going to have difficult conversations with people. We're going to have to be okay with that. Sometimes we have to realize that our own happiness is our priority, and other people are going to have to be okay with that. So with that said, don't be the one or the two, sis. Don't be the one or the two. Set them firm boundaries. You hear me? Firm boundaries, because in your journey to being comfort able, you're gonna have to let people know that they can't be number one in your life because you're number one. That was very, very difficult for me to do with my mother, to do with my sisters and my siblings. You know what I mean? Like it's very difficult, but don't be the one or the two, sis. Don't let them play in your face, because they will try it. They will try it. They will try it. They will try manipulation. They will try mind games. They will try any and everything possible to get you back into a place where you are serving and meeting their needs. Don't be the one or the two, sis. Don't be the one or the two. Sometimes we have to be uncomfortable and uneasy in familiar situations, and that's how we know we're growing. So Nakia Homer, another one. If you are not following her on Instagram, you are missing out, sis. Follow her. She is really the truth. And then we got to affirm ourselves, period. Like affirm ourselves, because sometimes we're not going to have cheerleaders. I don't know about you all, but I really had to celebrate myself a lot. And in celebrating myself, I had to recognize that, I had to get to a point where I realized that I needed to celebrate myself, that I'm always not going to be celebrated by people outside of me. You know what I'm saying? And so to stay encouraged, that encouragement was going to have to come from me. That celebration was going to have to come from somewhere deep inside, because everybody ain't going to know what it took for you to get there. You all don't know the backstory of what it took for me to get here to this Blaze workshop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm celebrating myself in this moment, because it took a lot to get here. So one of my affirmations is that it can happen for me and I deserve it. Period. Like I deserve to be on this stage. That's it. That's all. So another step that I took in becoming comfort able is like knowing that I had to learn some things, and that I learned some things through socialization of being a Black girl in America. I've learned some things through surviving adverse experiences. I've learned some things through surviving trauma. I've learned some things through surviving, and I'm gonna name it, surviving sexual assault as a child, surviving date rape in college, surviving, you hear me? I've learned some things, and I've had to unlearn some things. I've had to unlearn. And then in the process of unlearning, you got to replace that with information, with new information. You got to integrate that information that you've learned and unlearned into your current everyday experiences. And so in this whole process, it gets messy, sis. It gets messy. It feels like you're stagnant. It feels like you're not going anywhere or doing anything, in the places that you're not where you think you should be, but you are exactly where you need to be, sis, and just keep going. Keep going. That's how to just keep swimming, like little Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Sometimes we don't recognize people pleasing, right? So like accepting the blame for being accepting the blame to keep the peace. That's people pleasing. That's not being nice. That's not like we are basically halting people's growth and development by accepting blame. Like they need to learn their lessons just like we need to learn our lessons. We all need to grow and evolve, learn, unlearn, relearn. You know what I mean? And we can't be codependent, and we can't block people's learning process. And that's one of the things that I learned about myself, like how I was blocking other people's learning processes. And then how I was, basically, being passive and not really standing up for myself because I didn't want to be an issue. I didn't want to be, like too much trouble to people. Another one of the things that I learned in, like surviving trauma. And so we need to make sure that we are not mistaking nice for people-pleasing behaviors. And when we start recognizing these people-pleasing behaviors, start integrating that recognition within our day-to-day interactions and experiences, right? So making sure that we are, like seeing it when it comes up. And if we just so happen to fall back into those people-pleasing behaviors, making sure that the next time that we're doing a little better. It's a step-by-step process, because most of these things, like I'm 44 years old, people-pleasing is ingrained in me. Okay, it is ingrained. And so it's going to take a little time for it to, for me to pull up the roots of it. And so making sure that I give myself grace for the times that it shows up. So anything that I accept about myself cannot be used to diminish me. So I had to accept that I had some ugliness inside of me, y'all. I had to accept that I had some pettiness inside of me, y'all. I can only fully step into the light, fully step into the fullness of who I am if I accept all of who I am, which means the ugliness, which means, like I said, the pettiness, which is the, like, oh, I'm going to get you back, or I'm going to read you, or, all of it. I'm going to pull up, because even in my 44, even in just as recently as last year, like my pull-up game is strong. It is what it is. I had to accept the roots of that pull-up game. You know what I'm saying? It stemmed in trauma. It stemmed in me hurting and wanting other people to hurt because I was hurting, right? And that's really all it is. So now when I say pull-up game, my pull-up game is a little different. Like I pull up with healing, I pull up with hope, I pull up with grace, I pull up with integrity. You know what I'm saying? And because I was able to accept those other parts of me that weren't healed, I can now fully step into those other parts. And so when somebody brings up the stuff that I wasn't healed on, when those days that I showed up when I wasn't my best self, I can say, yeah, but I changed that. But still don't try me, because I ain't the one or the two. And that other one could pop out anytime, because that's still me. That's still me, and she still serves her purpose. So I ain't gonna deny her, but I'm also gonna make sure that like everything that I'm doing, all of my moves I'm stepping in integrity, and I'm stepping in who I'm meant to be. You know what I'm saying? And I'm being a role model. So this is what it is. So this is, like if you know, and this is for intimate relationships. This is for friendships. This is for institutions that, are trying to take advantage of us. This is basically us stepping to our freedom and making sure that we are, free of anything that will block us from being our best self. We are magical. We cannot save anyone. That's it. That's it. We can't save nobody from ourselves. We can barely save ourselves from ourselves. I don't know about y'all, but me versus me is a hell of a thing. Like coming up against myself and all the barriers that I put in my place, from succeeding and for being who I fully want to be, like sitting with that stuff. It's a hell of a battle. And so, you know, our focus should be on us. It should be on us and uprooting all the stuff in us and not trying to like save everybody else from themselves. Like, no, they got to save themselves. Ain't nothing we can do about that. They got to save themselves and we work on ourselves. Relapse is a part of the process because we ain't gonna always get it right. We ain't gonna always get it right. And so when we don't get it right and we realize we have that level of awareness that we haven't got it right, that's when we recognize that old us does not work. And so this is from my mentor, Jojo Paz. She sent some encouragement, you know, for them times that, you know, like I felt like I needed something outside of me to help encourage me to keep going. And so like, this was during one of my confessionals, like, look, I messed up. And this is what she shared with me, that it's a part of the process. So the greatest lesson is that we can't have one foot in our old life and one foot in our new life and expect change. That should have been number one, and being comfort able. We cannot expect to have one foot in and one foot out and expect something different, expect something new. We got to fully commit, y'all. And that was one of the things I needed to do in order to, like, you know, be comfort able. And after you've done all you can, sis, you got to stand in what you know, stand in who you are, stand in your higher order and direction. Just stand. Sis Kiera Lewis from TikTok, man, listen, I love her. If you've not seen this video, she talks about being delusional. She talks about how it is like for her, you know, like, of course, everybody likes her. Of course, everything is going to happen for her. Like who is she hurting by being like unreal? I mean, by forgetting to be realistic. Sorry about that. But like, who is she hurting? I love her. Check her out. In a movie, The Girl with All the Gifts, there is a line, why should we have to die for you to live? And this is a little Black girl. It's like this post-apocalyptic like movie, and that's my jam right there. But this a little Black girl who said this, and when she said it, I felt it in my spirit, because it's like it translates across so many things for me. It translates across me and my relationship with my parents. Why should I have to die to live up to who you want me to be? My relationships with institutions, with my relationship with white supremacy, my relationship with people who don't want me to grow and change. So this translates across all of our relationships. She said, why should we have to die for you to live? Not us putting ourselves first. Oh yeah, because we're not dying for anybody to live no more. We, our spirit, our soul, our energy, our ideas, none of it. We putting ourselves first, sis. So to answer the question, yes, we are comfort able. To start off, we're going to observe Black Girl Day Off on October 11th annually. And it is a day to make sure that we are encouraging Black women to take a mental health day and a focus on our emotional well-being. Because once again, in The Girl with All the Gifts, she also says like the end of their world is the beginning of ours. So she basically let them know, like, and I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say, you know, a lot about it, but she basically let them know that, like, just because, like, you are dying off, or who, you know, like, we're not sacrificing ourselves, period. That's really what it is. We're not sacrificing ourselves. And just because your world is changing, just because I'm not showing up who you want me to be anymore, does not mean that the world is ending. It just means that the world is changing. And it's our world, sis, period.
Listen, when I say shook, I am shook. Anika, hit the hand below the screen, mama. I'm gonna bring you up. I see you. I'm bringing you up right now. My God. My God. What's up, Anika?
What's up, sis?
Like, I did not want to breathe. I didn't want to miss anything. Like Anika.
Casey.
I'm about to get full in a minute. I gotta tell y'all something. I met Anika at Winter 2021 Summit in the chat. The same platform, the same chat y'all using before we had the gifts. Shawty was super active. My first time meeting her, she was super active, and she kept talking about how everything she received was right on time, and it was snatching her edges, etc., etc., etc. And Anika set up a one-on-one video call with me, and she looked at me and she said, "Sis, because of this, I got out of bed today. I did my hair today, and I knew I'm like, I know what that means. I know what that means. I know what it means when you can't get out of bed." Well, you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror when you that done. And a year later to the day, she's here pointing to us, pointing to me. Is that real? This is the power of our fellowship. This is church as far as I'm concerned. And I got a whole lot of church hurt. This is church. Yvonne is the usher at the door, guiding folk where they need to go because she dropped them links fast. Every reference I've been giving here today, Yvonne got the links. Neff gives the benediction at the end of the day, unpacking it all and making sure we can leave it at the altar. Hear me. This is church. We got neighbors in the pews that we recognize because y'all keep showing up in the chat. Anika is the youth pastor, making it plain. Bringing the intersections of popular culture so that you understand timeless wisdom in ways that are easy for you to digest. This is church. Sis, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm so proud of you for getting out of bed. I'm so proud of you for doing your hair. I'm so proud of you for getting on the stage. Keep going. All right. That's it. We got to keep going. But the good thing is, y'all, we have 32 minutes for this Q&A. So put your questions in the section in the chat. Raise your hand if you want to come on stage as y'all are queuing your stuff up. Anika, anything you want to say right now?
I've told you a million times, I talked in my workshop about the messages that come to you. So I was crying out to God, y'all. I was literally crying out like, God, I can't do this. When I said I've been homeless since 2019, I have not had my own space. And I'm still stripped down. I'm still being stripped down. But sis, when I tell you my sisters have kept me in that chat, I met some sisters who have literally kept me in that chat. During the summit, I was going through some medical stuff. I had no idea what was going on. I was just scared. I was losing so much weight, y'all. I was scared. And in that chat, I said, I need y'all to pray for me right now. Because I felt like I didn't know what was happening. I felt like I was going to pass out. I didn't know if it was going to be the last time I woke up. And my sister prayed for me in that moment, and I felt better. And I felt that same way. That February, end up being hospitalized, end up having all kind of stuff going on. But in that moment, I know my sister saved my life. In that moment, it was meant for me to find my sisters. And I will always I will always give free advertisement because Casey is real. Casey is authentic. Casey means it when she says, like, I have been able to pick up the phone and call Casey. During that summit, I found out that I got my largest grant to be able to do the work that I do in the community. Casey coached me through that. I went through the Blaze Business Intensive. I got prepared for that. I was able to come to the table and speak the language that the funders and that everybody was speaking. I was prepared for that. So when I will always go hard for Blaze, always. Hands down. And I put and spin a block for Blaze and for y'all.
You literally just did. You spit on our head. You spit the block. Shout it. Listen, you got us together. You gathered us. I love you deep, Anika. So proud of you.
I love you too.
All right. So we got some questions. I already love it. Oh, I got chills. Okay, so first question is from Ashley. And she says, Anika, all caps, what would you tell your younger self?
Woo. So I see this is a common theme. I don't know if that's actually just asking that question. I know it was asked yesterday. I would tell Anika that it's okay to cry and to have your emotions because I was always told that I was too sensitive. I would tell Anika that it was something wrong with the environment, that it wasn't me, it was the environment, and that I deserve to be protected, and I deserve to be heard.
Yes, you do.
And I deserve to be here because at
Yes.
12, I was told that nobody wanted me. My parents didn't want me by my grandmother, whose 90th birthday is today. And she is resting power. She died in 2020. But I had to go through a whole process. That's a whole process. So I would tell Anika, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard.
Ashe. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry you went through that, sis. Love you deep. Oh Lord. This one is from PG. She said, "Hey friend, about that book and companion podcast. This was episode 1, right? We manifesting something? I love you deep. What we manifesting?"
Listen, Paquita been on my butt. Like, so Paquita is another one of my sisters that I met last year this time, y'all. When I tell y'all, because I had moved to a new city so that I could heal, right? And in this new city, I know nobody, y'all. But I hooked up with Paquita through this summit, and Paquita been on my butt, like inspiring me to do this podcast and this book because I got stories, y'all. I got stories. I got to change the names and dates and times. And but yes, Paquita, I'm getting on it, sis. I promise you, I'm getting on it.
I love this. And y'all, Paquita was a speaker. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, this is family right here. Paquita was on the stage. Anika was in the chat. And here we listen. Okay. All right, Chandrell, I'm bringing you up to the stage. I hope you camera ready, Mama Sita. I think you actually said, how do I get my video accepted? You did right, sis. You did right. I'm about to hit the button right now. Feel free to ask whatever you want to or say whatever you want to say. The mic is yours. But unmute your mic. We see you though.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, Miss Anika. I want to tell you, I don't know what God doing right now, but it's as if he just I've been like, you know how you just feel like nobody has ever had the same experience, but every single thing that you have said, I have experienced. Just last year, me and my children were homeless, living hotel to hotel. When I tell you I felt so hopeless, like to the point where I'm like, did I do something wrong? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I feel like I'm a good person. I know I do the right things, but did I do something wrong? You know, I reflected back on my life, but Miss Anika, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I know everything happens at the right time, but like, your life is my life. And I'm 29 years old, and I would definitely aspire for us to get together, and I feel like we can really relate, and you can be my coach through this thing. You know, I'm still processing, you know what I mean? I've dealt with so much rejection, and even to the point where I've still to this day sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and like, man, like I'm not who I used to be. You know what I mean? I feel like I lost myself in the midst of my storm, but I need to get my power back because I know it's there. You know what I mean? And I try everything, you know, and I'm still working through it. But sometimes, you know, it's difficult to do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Especially I'm a single mother, you know, and I'm trying my best, you know, and sometimes you need that tribe. And I'm so appreciative of this whole platform. Like, it's really changing my life. Like, just the fact that it came across my timeline, it's never ceasing to amaze me. Everything that I'm hearing is like, this is exactly what I need to hear, like to give me that encouragement. And I started my business while I was in the hotel with my kids. And this year I was like kind of like ready to give up on it. But this right here just was like, ain't no way I can give up on
Yeah.
my business, because this is the turning point right here. You know what I mean? So I just want to say thank you, Miss Anika, and for sharing your story and letting me know that I'm not the only one who go through these type of things. And if I can see other women overcome it, then I know that I can too. And I really appreciate that. And I would love for us to get together, and whatever it may be, whether it's just, coaching, or you just being my accountability partner, whatever it may be, I just will really appreciate that. I really would.
Listen, I'm open. Just like my sisters poured into me, I'm gonna pour into you and whoever else need it, because that's what this is about. So thank you for being like, for your vulnerability and coming to the stage and saying that, and we got you. Welcome home, as Casey would say.
Yes,
Welcome
ma'am.
home.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate this. And thank you, Casey, for this platform, girl. Like, I see this going so far. Like, yeah, keep doing your thing. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mama. Welcome to the tribe. There's so much space for you. I'm speaking specifically to Chandrell. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. There is so much space for you, sis. And what you did today is exactly how you're going to get your money, is exactly how you're going to get your partnerships, is exactly how you're going to get everything you need. Shoot your shot just like this, sis. Just like that.
Yeah.
And everything that you wants you just as badly. So happy to meet you.
Thank you. Y'all stay blessed.
You too.
Thank you,
Ashe.
you too.
Ashe. All right, more questions for you, Anika. So I'm pulling up another one from Dana. And she says, is there such a thing as healthy competition?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think there's nothing wrong with a little motivation, but you just got to make sure you know where your intentions are. Like, because only you know. So if you're doing something so that you can, like, show out or prove that you better than, then like, you got to check yourself or you wreck yourself.
Ashe. I love that. I agree 100%. All right, I'm gonna bring up a question from Sharon. And she asked, are you ready to be on podcast now? Oh, they holding you accountable, sis. They want to know.
Accountable. You know what? I yes. Yep. Surely is.
Ashe. Liz. I'm so full right now. I feel like I'm just floated. Like, I got to say this one more time. Anika, I was so tired when I started today. Not in a bad way. I'm okay with that. Like, literally, I let my body feel what it feels, because that journaling session, ooh, I went there in my mind and I slept with that thing and I woke up with it. I was like, damn, this is fucked up, right? But every single session, y'all lifted me. Yeah, like literally, I was not this bright when this started. And I wasn't scared of that because I needed to process it, right? But y'all just y'all so dope. Okay, so I'm bringing you up, Cheryl. Cheryl is coming up. I'm gonna start giving y'all a little time to get camera ready, because somebody inboxed me yesterday. I ain't gonna say your name, sis, but she was like, it happened too fast. I wasn't ready. Okay, so Cheryl, I'm bringing you up. Ask or say whatever you want to, Mama.
Okay.
We hear you.
Anita, hi. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I am new to the summit as well. So to hear your talk first and then to hear Casey express. But I wanted to say this. This is what strong Black women are. The perception that they give of what a strong Black woman is, that we can just take on. Just being out there and being vulnerable and putting it all on the line, and the tears, and how the community just wraps its arms around, and you just like, hey, I'm here for whatever anybody is willing to say or do, or I got you. Casey had you got the next one. I am just so, I thought I was full yesterday. Y'all just keep, I don't know how I'm going to, every day I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this week. So I also would like to talk to you. We have a lot of things in common. And you just, girl, just one thing after the other. And then mic dropped. It's like, really? You ain't say bye, nothing, just boom. Really? But I love it. I love it. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. Thank you. And I have no makeup today because y'all got me yesterday. The makeup was
Very
just a mess
beautiful.
from crying. So today,
Listen.
no, you ain't gonna get me today. No. So thank you. Thank you so much. That was just beautiful. And thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I look forward to connecting with you. And this
Okay.
is, and
I'm
the
gonna,
good
I'm
thing
gonna
is you're
DM
gonna
you
have
later.
access to this replay for a couple months. So you're gonna be able to tap back into it too. And we gonna be
Yeah, because
connected.
some
So
things
I look
I'm trying to
forward.
type and it's just like it's going so fast. I'm like, I'm missing some things. So but yeah,
Listen,
so
yep.
thank you again.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
Cheryl,
affirming me,
it's in you
y'all.
too, sis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's in you too, because when you said that thing like this is a strong Black woman, and you said they told us something else, it's in you too. So I look
Yeah.
forward to what's about to come from your mouth in future
Yeah.
sessions. Okay.
Yeah, this is not what they portray a strong Black woman to be. We can be soft. A strong Black woman can be soft, and we're
Yes, we
afraid
can.
of our softness. You know, we're afraid that we can't be so. We can be soft and we can be gentle. Yeah, we can be lionesses, but baby, we can be soft, and we can you know, gather around and love each other. And yeah, we can have healthy competition, but it's so much abundance here for us. And it's just a beautiful thing. So Casey, I thank you too. I just, like I said, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this week. I ain't gonna have nothing left about it. I'm gonna have to take a vacation just from this week.
Baby,
So
oh yeah, bucket your sister. And you're not gonna want to let go, but you're gonna be nervous. Like, how much more can I take? But yeah, we'll get that together. Thank you so much, girl.
Thank you.
I say. That was good. That was good. Cause they told us we were the mammy. They put us on the syrup as Aunt Jemima. But that ain't the whole story. Like, yeah, we strong. Yeah, we raised your babies, but guess what? We bloom too, baby. Oh, all right. I'm gonna put some more questions up here for you, Anika. Okay, this one is from Yvonne. She's so funny, y'all. This our usher, y'all, in the church. She says, Casey, are you sure we can't do this monthly? For real though, real talk. Welcome to the community. I promise you, like, we stay connecting. Like, legit, y'all. Every single Monday we have virtual co-working sessions, like where it's my playlist going. It's lit. I promise.
It
90 minutes
is.
every single Monday, and we do other things. So just keep it locked. You'll know about it. All right, next one is from. Wait, some people want to. Okay, somebody left. Sorry. Come hit the hand button again. Don't be afraid. We actually have 16 more minutes in this segment right here. And then the next one is from. Why did it leave me? Somebody said, I don't know where it is anymore. Oh, here it is. Tiffany, I appreciate you, sis. She says, this by far is the best virtual setup. I share.
Right.
Neff has something. Neff, our good sis, says, Anika, what made you listen to the inner voice to share your story despite your pain?
Neff and hey sis, if I'm being completely honest, like that was a part of why I have been stripped down. Because I wasn't listening. Like I was to a certain degree, but I wasn't fully showing up the way that God wanted me to show up, in the way that I knew that I was supposed to show up. And so like this whole process of me being stripped down was so that I could stand up stronger and stand up like in who I am, and not in who like everybody else in the world told me that I should be. So it was literally me just basically accepting like I got a higher calling, and I'm gonna have to do it, or I'm gonna have to keep getting my butt kicked. And that's really pretty much what it boiled down to. Like, because like when you have a calling and it's in you, there's nothing that you can do to escape from it, because people gonna seek you out. Like, people gonna seek you out in the grocery store. They're gonna seek you out online. It don't matter where you are. People are gonna find you and remind you of who you are supposed to be. And so I just kept getting reminded, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just have to show up. And yeah, that's pretty much what it was. It was like I kept getting reminded, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to just do this, because I don't want no more reminders, and I don't want no more hard lessons. So thank you for your question, Nev.
Anika, and that wraps the questions and the hands up. Anika,
you.
you dropped so many bars during your session. I'm gonna be chewing on that, baby. Woo woo! For weeks at a time. You dropped so many bars, Anika. So thank you for the wisdom that you poured into us. I already knew you were brilliant, right? And I already was thrilled that you seemed to be operating in your zone of genius. But to experience the youth pastor today, I know them girls love you to pieces. I mean, my God, I love that you are working with the youth. Like, you are, and women, right, who have gone through pain. But the way you package this thing, like, you are it. You are the answer. Like, you are everything. And I'm convinced that the revolution will be televised. I'm just convinced of that. Like, everything we doing and putting out into the world, like, man, can't nobody touch this here. So you are the revolution, sis. I give you so many flowers. Thank you so much for showing up for us. And I love you deep, deep, deep. Keep going.
Thank you so much. And thank you for a platform to show up fully. You know, like, where else can I quote Uncle Clifford Rule number 24.5? You know, like, thank you. Thank you for this space and this platform, Casey, for real.
Of course, you deserve all the things, mama. All right, y'all. So that wraps this particular session. And I just have to say, for the people who are full like I am, this was only session number 2 of the day. Do y'all feel that? This was only session number 2 of the day. Like, we literally just got here, man. But I honor you all for being here. I honor you all for being at this intersection of my life, of the life of the Blaze brand. This is year 2. This month marks year 2 of our journey. And it is so beautiful, right? Like, statistics show, right, that I think it's like 30% of businesses that don't make it past year 1, right? Less than 50% make it past year 5. So I don't take any part of this journey for granted. And my journey is your journey, right? We're walking alongside each other on this founder journey, right? On this entrepreneurial journey. And so I'm happy we're still rocking together. I'm happy to see people show up from last year still here. I look for many more to come as we blow through the statistics, right? And tell our own stories, right? So sending so much love and light to y'all. We are not anywhere near done, because this is only the second session. Right after this, I got chills as I say her name, y'all. Dr. Tanisha King. My God, this woman is incredible. Okay, she is about to do a Blaze talk for us right before the DJ set. Okay. DJ T.O. is coming back to spin on the 1s and 2s. DJ T.O. has been with us since the summit has begun as well. She's super, super dope. And she is transitioning into being our resident DJ for Blaze. Because I can't put no dates on nothing right now, but because Blaze will take up physical space. We're going to do some things in Cape Town. We're going to do some things in Nairobi. We're going to do some things in Tanzania. We're going to do some things in Nigeria. We're going to do some things in Chicago. We're going to do some things in Brooklyn. We're going to do some things in Charlotte. We're going to do some things in Atlanta. I'm not done. We're going to do some things in DC. We're going to do some things in Houston. We're going to do some things in Oakland. Big ups to Oakland. I heal so much in Oakland. And we're going to do some things in Chicago. Okay. And our resident DJ is going to pull up with us. Okay. Now that's at the end of the journey. I'm just telling y'all where we're going. We family up in here, right? But I don't take any of these intersections for granted, right? She is committed to seeing us grow as much as we are committed to seeing her grow. So she's gonna be rocking with us for another 3 days, and then for those of y'all who are in Charlotte, day 5 is gonna be fuego. Okay, so for the first time in Blaze Summit history, we have a headliner. So I think everybody who's come here before, they're very used to me ending the summit with my keynote, right, as the founder of Blaze. And I am super big on giving up space. I create space and grab space and claim space for us so I can give it up, okay? And I am so excited to give up space for these summits now to have Black female headliners. So Ohavia Phillips, is what she goes by, her nickname, but Ohavia Phillips in the Queen City. Many of y'all know of her. She's actually now newly appointed what do they call her? The host, the in-arena host for the Charlotte Hornets. She's the in-arena host for the Greensboro, I forget their mascot, but another sports team there. She has a talk show. And on day 5, it's going to be DJ Fannie Mae, also from Charlotte, spinning on the ones and twos, ending the summit. So instead of me ending the summit, as I usually do, we're going to have Charlotte holding it down, right? And we're going to end with the DJ set. And usually, y'all know this by now, a lot of y'all do, I come in singing, right? And I'm not going to do that at the end of this summit. See, Neff already asked. I knew it was coming, but do we get serenaded, Casey? I'm not going to do it, okay? I'm not going to do that. But right now, because I'm not going to do it on Friday, I'm going to do a little song that's on my, not really on my spirit, I would say just in the vein of this summit, right? No longer my burden, because as people share their stories, I think about mine. I can't help but to. We are so interconnected. It's wild and beautiful and bigger than us. It is heavenly. It is majestic. And, this song really resonates with where I was in my life, man. When I was struggling and when I was masking my pain and when I was pushing it down and when I was running from a whole bunch of things, not trying to heal, right? But trying to step on top of all of that shit, right? Try to run on the side of all of that shit and not being willing to go through it. And then I broke, okay? And then I broke. And so this song came out in the year of my breaking in 2016. Solange came out with A Seat at the Table. My God. Oh, my God. And it told my story. And she said, I tried to drink it away. I tried to put one in the air. I tried to dance it away. I tried to change it with my hair. I ran my credit card bill up. Thought a new dress would make it better. I slept it away. I worked it away. I sexed it away. But y'all know this part. But it's like cranes in the sky. Sometimes I don't want to feel those metal clouds. It's like cranes in the sky. Sometimes I don't want to feel those. Yeah, like, I mean, I really did try to work it away. I tried to sex it away. I ran my credit card bill up. I'm talking about everything I had. As if the divorce didn't financially hurt me enough, as if the move across the country is 2,700 miles away to be safe from an abuser and go to a place that I had never been before so that he could not find me after a 10-year relationship, as if I did not lose enough in that. I ran my credit cards bill up. I thought a new dress would make it better. I wanted to hide in plain sight. I kept my last name the same so that nobody would know I was divorced. My maiden name is Nigerian. It's DK. But I kept Richardson so that my work email would not change, and so my business cards didn't have to change, and so I wouldn't have to go through a reintroduction to a whole bunch of new people I was meeting in Oakland, California, because I fled Charlotte, North Carolina, where I built a house from the ground up with my high school sweetheart, a man that I had been with for 10 years of my life, and I was 26 years old at the time. Oh, it's deep, y'all. It's deep. And in 2016, 12 days after he almost killed me, I got on a one-way flight to Oakland. I had to stay long enough for the court case, okay, for the restraining order, right? So that I could get that, and legally, if he found me, at least I had some type of legal, protection. So I stayed 12 days, long enough for that to go through. And I showed up to the airport. Oh my God. With 9 suitcases by myself, still trying to do it all, but I was doing it wrong. Right? 9 suitcases by myself. And I pushed all of them suitcases by myself. Got to the counter. I had my whole life in them suitcases, man. She looked at me and she said, "This gonna cost $1,300. I had to go. My heart was racing. I didn't know if I was gonna make it on the plane or not. I was so scared. I didn't know if he was watching me. I had to go though. He didn't know where I was going. All of my friends there, I couldn't tell him where I was going because he would have found me." She said, "This will be $1,300. I took out cash because I didn't want him to trace what I was doing." And I got on that plane as Casey Richardson. I got off of that plane as Casey Richardson. I stayed as Casey Richardson so that I could hide in plain sight, right? And I didn't tell anybody what happened to me. Man, I partied hard every single day of the week because I had that much pain to numb. I drank it away. Most nights, I couldn't get enough wine because I had so much I needed to numb. But nobody knew I was the best dancer out there, bruh. They knew it, shot it from the South, because I came there and that thing would be banging in the dance floor. Nobody knew I was divorced, right? Or not even divorced yet. Nobody knew I had fled, right? And I was freshly abused. Nobody knew I had PTSD, right? And then a little over, about a year later, it's almost a year to the day, actually, I broke. I broke, I crumbled. Somebody in the chat I was with, I had so many friends by that time, and they asked, what was the one decision you're most proud of? And I responded in the chat honestly, more honest than I'd ever been with them. And I said, leaving after he hit me the first time. And everybody, they said, what? And that's the day I told them, I left a marriage. He almost killed me. I got on a one-way flight. I wasn't supposed to be here. I had to find a job when I got here, right? I had to sleep on a couch until I could get enough money to pay a deposit for an apartment, right? That's the first time telling that story, and I broke after that. I broke, y'all. I was out of work for 4 months, and I, for the first time, stopped doing it by myself, right? So I had a therapist, I had a psychiatrist, man, I had a whole gang of folk around me for the first time in my life, and it changed everything. I was in Oakland, California. Here I am today. And the second move wasn't even scary. That's when I came to the continent, right? Because I learned, as Candace Drew said, that she would tell her little girl, her younger self, I learned that I could do hard things. I learned that I could do hard things. I thrived out there, man. And I'm thriving here on the continent. So I'm not speaking or singing on Friday. But I wanted to share a piece, a sliver, right, of what this means to me. I love y'all for real. Shouts out to y'all killing it on the leaderboard. I got to go. We going to the next session. It's from Dr. Tanisha King. She is amazing. And this is called From Pain to Purpose. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.
When my marriage ended, I was distraught. I sought counseling to help with the grieving process, and it was tumultuous. During the intake meeting of that initial counseling session, I described the nature of my relationship, and the therapist said it was an illusion. Wow, the reality, right? That I've been involved in a 20-year relationship, 12 years married, and it was barely real. Not only was it barely real, following the meeting, she sent along some resources, one of which was the power and control wheel. Yikes. Here I am, a six-figure earner with a master's in social work, where I am trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. And I was a counselor for survivors and perpetrators of domestic violence. And I had been given the power and control wheel. It was humbling, to say the least. We had been living a perfect lie. As I reflect, my ex-husband had never been at ease. Small aggressive behaviors over the years, from knocking food out of my hands for seemingly no reason at all, and definitely not due to a reaction to something I'd done to him. He did this in front of my friend. I now know and recognize that he only was attempting to embarrass me and assert himself as the one in power in front of my people. I recall him flipping over an entire table when a family game night did not result in him winning. In my mind at the time, though, these incidents that were more verbose were far and few in between, so I categorized it as no big deal. We all get mad sometimes. Not too long ago, the cycle continued. When his anger grew, he throws insults, one after another. But this time it was different. While the words stung, they didn't sting as hard as they used to. There was an awakening happening within me. I was seeing what had been going on and the true reality of my relationship. I was having the same feelings and reflections I had before around an annual blow up, is what I called it. But there was something different this time. I realized I'd grown to know what would come next. I could predict his next move and behavior, what he would say next, how long the silent treatment would last. And as predicted, when I challenged his logic with my truth, he decided that we shouldn't talk anymore tonight. And then, of course, I was met with the silent treatment. This time, the silent treatment lasted longer. After the first night, same night that we had the argument, I chose to greet him as I normally would. And this was a pattern in the relationship where he would get angry and I would attempt to fix it. And I would attempt to be the people pleaser. And I came to greet him with a kiss in the morning upon awakening, kind of brushing it under the rug, sweeping it under the rug, just trying to make up and ignore the issues that were there. However, I was met with a turn of the head for my lips only to meet his cheek. This is called emotional abuse, withdrawing affection. On day 3 of the silent treatment, I didn't try to give any affection. So for about 5 to 7 days, we only greeted each other with a cordial good morning and good night. And again, as predicted, when he was ready, he abruptly decided that it was time to talk. And just as it had happened twice before, at least, he said that divorce would be the only option and that we needed to focus on being the best co-parents we could be. Once again, I agreed. But this time I was way less emotional. I was already done the year before and was really just trying to give more grace and another second chance. But this time I was done for sure. I had finally decided that I had enough. The year prior, when I thought I was really done, I was so exhausted. I had already named my pain more than once, sharing with him that I felt like this was emotional abuse, but had also held on to hope that that time would be different. The last night of our argument, before we decided to officially split ways, time had stood still, and I heard a whisper from God. He can't go where I'm taking you. My therapist called that trauma. I called it what Sarah Jakes Roberts does, which was a word from God. Then a few days later, all at once, memories of subtle comments made to me well before that argument played in my mind like a highlight reel. And those memories demonstrated a high level of disrespect, jealousy, resentment, bitterness, all of which I was oblivious to or was blatantly attempting to ignore to keep the lie alive. Others in my family and friend circle would hint a little bit at things not being normal with us and or his treatment being questionable, all of which I ignored because I still hadn't completely accepted the reality of my situation. I was devastated to come to the conclusion that I am indeed a survivor of domestic violence. The silent treatment isn't the only way an emotional and verbal abuser attacks their victim. They are manipulative and many times very subtle. And I liken it to the research I've done on microaggressions, which are subtle forms of racism and subtle forms of other oppressive behavior from privileged groups. And typically they come in as compliments. For instance, you speak so well, you're so articulate. I've gotten that said a lot to me, but mostly from white people who tend to not share that same compliment with other people that look like them. So the underlying assumption is that you had some stereotypes about how I show up into spaces that maybe I'm not supposed to be articulate. Maybe I'm not supposed to speak well because I'm a Black woman. And so these same tactics are used with emotional and verbal abusers, and they are really subtle. My abuser said things like, "How does it feel to know nobody likes you?" But just really in a playful way. It wasn't in an angry tone, but those type of words, language, and statements and phrases over time can really erode at someone's self-esteem, their self-confidence, especially when it comes from someone you love. He also said things like, "I almost forgot you had a PhD." Okay. So really random, not even in an argument, nothing else would be going on. And those are some of the statements and phrases that he would casually throw around. But it gets worse. When pregnant with our second child, I unknowingly had gallstones. So while I was 8 months along, I'm constantly vomiting after eating dairy. And I really wasn't associating it with what I was eating at the time. I just knew I was sick more than usual. And at 8 months, you figure that the vomiting would stop, right? That's usually earlier on in pregnancy. And one time I was, on my knees in front of the toilet, upset and frustrated. So I started crying because I'm emotional, I'm pregnant, I'm upset that this is still a thing that's happening during this pregnancy this time. And while I'm on bended knees over the toilet, he walks by, glares at me and said, "Are you crying?" And made a face at me as if it was super ridiculous of me to have any emotion related to my situation at the time. He typically said more direct things during a blow up, and every time in between was more of those subtle things that came all year long. That's once or twice a year he would go on a tirade to share his disdain for me and how that this relationship just wasn't working for him, that we should co-parent, etc. During those initial times, I would often be distraught and shed tears and be really confused about what was happening. And more than once during those times, he said, "I don't care about your tears." Once I had an accident while hanging out with friends. I was cut near an artery and needed multiple stitches. One of the friends called him to ask if he wanted to meet us at the hospital and come be with me. She offered to care for our children in his absence. And he responds, "No, I'm good." So just a total lack of care and concern relative to your partner, your significant other. He often had me questioning the reality of my own experiences because he would choose to change the narrative and tell me I wasn't seeing or hearing what I saw and heard, attempting really to cause an over-reliance on his judgment, getting me over time to trust him over myself. I noticed far later in our marriage that his opinion counted to me more than my own. For instance, when it came to something as simple as clothing, I had been groomed by him to question my choices due to his constant criticism of my clothing, my speech, my chosen profession. When I ran for political office, which I won twice, he said, "You think they're going to let you win over a white man?" They did. Or my hard work got me there. He would often gaslight me by baiting me into arguments about societal issues that I was most passionate about. And, to try to argue how wrong I was about it. He'd say, "You just a girl from 39th that used to have rumors about her, right?" Just to knock me down a couple of pegs or to try. Another time he told me not to get him anything for Christmas. When I did so anyway, he demanded that I showed him where I hid it, and then he returned the item. The aggression from him increased after the separation because, mind you, he had asked for a divorce at least twice before, to which I did not grant. We would just sweep it under the rug and go through this cycle, make up without really tackling the issues that were present, and move on. This was the one time that I decided, again, I had had enough. And so the aggression increased because I chose to do something different and he wasn't used to that. When I set a boundary with our children in my new home, the verbal abuse ended up being even easier to pinpoint. These instances of withdrawing affection and withholding empathy, so on and so forth, were much more subtle. But there were other times when I was delivering our third child. Instead of being in the laboring tub with me, I did a water birth with her. Instead of holding my hand or even giving me words of encouragement as I labored with no medication, he sat in the corner of the room on his cell phone the entire time. Instead of greeting me at the end of a theater performance where I shared the upbringing of my life and my story in my neighborhood on the south side of Chicago, he left after my set and placed a bouquet of flowers on the seat of the car for me to find later. Did not choose to stay and greet me after. When I was planning the celebration of my PhD completion, because I'm the first in my family in a lot of things, and that was important for me to celebrate, he became angry that I had planned the party, told me that I was selfish, and asked when I had ever thought of anyone else but myself. As I recall then, I begged him to attend the party and the graduation ceremony because he told me that he'd been here for the entire step of the journey, so why did he need to come? A friend recently asked what was the worst thing he had ever done. And it took me a while to think of something because for me, it was a culmination of all of these things I've shared with you today, where I felt such a high level of betrayal. As I thought more, the worst thing had to be our disagreement over my last pregnancy. Y'all, I've been pregnant 7 times, a little fertile, just a little bit. So I've been pregnant 7 times, 3 beautiful, talented, intelligent, and strong-willed living children, 2 miscarriages, 1 ectopic pregnancy, and 1 abortion. Now, it's important to note that before the last 2 pregnancies, which resulted in the ectopic and the abortion, my tubes were tied. So when the last pregnancy happened, it certainly was a surprise. And of course, as many women do, I felt torn, right? And had moved with plans without much thought of having the child. Even though deep down, I felt done with having kids and wanted to focus on raising the 3 that we had. I wanted to focus on my career, my consulting, my speaking, right? Having 2 pregnancies after getting your tubes tied, though, makes you think a little bit harder to consider actually having the baby. So I wanted to take my time to figure out what I really wanted to do and not make a rash decision. My abuser, however, was adamant about having an abortion. He lectured me, once again calling me selfish for even considering keeping the child. He gave me the silent treatment again and berated me, and I mean berated me about the decision if I chose to keep it. Of course, this enhanced my stress, especially when he threatened divorce again. Everything was always my fault. He projected his insecurities and reality onto me. He never physically hit me, but I experienced multiple incidents of trauma and was diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD as a direct result of my relationship. Would you have thought that about me after reading my bio or just by looking at my headshot? Maybe not. But the fact of the matter is that domestic violence is broad and touches many people, regardless of socioeconomic status or educational attainment. When we think of people involved in intimate partner violence, we often think of women who come from lower socioeconomic status. And we also tend to think of folks we don't know, right? That these issues are not close to home. When in fact, statistics show that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, interpartner contact, sexual violence, stalking, so on and so forth. For emotional abuse specifically, prevalence rates were high as well, averaging around 80%. 40% of women and 32% of men reported expressive regression. 41% of women and 43% of men reported coercive control in their relationships. I married young. I was 24 and a little bit still wet behind the ears, had not experienced life in the way that I've now experienced life. I had childhood trauma that resulted in me being a people pleaser and wanting to not disrupt, wanting to make sure everyone is happy. And that resulted in my choice to remain in this relationship for so long. We were high school sweethearts. And so from 17 years old to 37, all I knew was this person. And I had been working since I was 12 years old and adopted this notion that I had to be everything to everyone. And that resulted in this superwoman persona, which many Black women adopt. And this mentality played a huge role in my marriage. I was choosing to put myself last, right? It has been expected of us, specifically as Black women since slavery, to be strong, which is often to our detriment. And it's taught us to ignore, disrespect, and take the abuse because we can handle it. We got it. Due to the stigma of domestic violence, I was almost silent about the reality of my marriage. However, I always wear my stories on my sleeve, and I feel that it is my duty and responsibility as a woman in the sisterhoods that I share to speak my truth, and that I want to use my story to help other women. We wrote a book, Grief and Gratitude. I decided to share my story in that book, but I made it an anthology so that other women could share their stories so that we can see ourselves in each other. Because my story is not just for me, it's for all of you. We tend to ignore issues of domestic violence and problems because culturally and societally, especially in the Black household, what happens in this house stays in this house. That's toxic as hell. What we're not going to do is ignore abuse and trauma. And if someone is doing and saying things to you that are inappropriate and not okay, you can choose to have a voice and speak up. You can choose to ask for help. When we talk about racism, homophobia, the LGBTQI plus community, ableism, when we talk about ageism, when we talk about anything that's oppressive, we choose to say, speak up, use your voice. Social justice is necessary, right? We ask people to be allies in the fight. And I'm asking today for you to be an ally for yourself, to remember that you are enough, that you don't have to settle for less. And oftentimes women, especially Black women, we've earned what we've earned. We've worked hard for what we have, and we still remain humble in so many ways. Humble and settling are not the same. So I decided to choose Tanisha for the first time in 20 years. Choosing me also meant that I was saving not only myself, but I was saving my children, that I'm breaking generational curses in a different kind of way. And I'm going to say to you today that I will start over as many times as I need to start over in order to make sure that I have the life that I want and the life that God has ordained for me. And so as you look at your life and as you step into your truths, remember that you've always been enough. Remember that grace being given should be deserved, right? The people that earn grace are the people that deserve the grace. And that you get to choose to say no. You get to choose to walk away from things that are not serving you. That you get to choose to take care of you and not pour from an empty cup. My life has only increased in blessings since I chose to listen to the word of God and step back into his domain and space for who he's called me to be in life. I'm so happy I got to share my story with you today. Feel free to learn more about me. Reach out to me on social media and any other platforms. You are enough. God bless.
Yeah, drop those hearts. A legend is in the building. Dr. King, baby, do you see the comments?
Maybe I saw a few of them.
You gonna have to read and digest this, ma'am. You affirmed all of us, all of the things we experienced, but we have been, gaslighted for years and years and years around. The way you broke it down with so much authority. Thank you so much for being here with us, sis. I already know it's going to be a lot of questions around this because I, for one, have never, ever, ever experienced somebody break down my experience before the hit. Because I left the first time he hit me, but I put up with a whole lot of other stuff for a whole decade before I even knew it was time to run. I never saw myself the way I've seen myself and what you explained. I didn't know I was as much of a victim as I was. So from me,
Survivor.
Thank you. So thank you, sis. You different. You a legend. Okay, I'm gonna get to these questions, Dr. King, so they get to ask all the things in the next 8 minutes. So first one, Dr. King, is coming from Raven Walker, our Blaze production assistant in the booth with us today. She asks, how do you handle co-parenting with your abuser? Woo, that's good.
Let me breathe first and sip another swag of water.
Girl.
As I still navigate and learn, I have 3 children, 15, 13, and 11. And I had to come to the conclusion that parallel parenting was going to be best for us because the gaslighting, the toxicity would not cease. And I had to choose to limit access to my children in a very particular way, because if you have those characteristics, you're still choosing to attempt to abuse emotionally and verbally my children as well. Right? You no longer have me as the proverbial punching bag. And so now you use them as an excuse to either get to me or to harm them. And so I've chosen very limited contact co-parenting. I communicate via text and email, period. Because once I get on the phone with this person, it's a whole different story. It's more gaslighting, it's deflection, it's projecting. It's like, I'm not doing it no more because I'm already free. I've already chosen me. So you still don't get my time and energy just because we got some kids. Can I get an amen? So I still choose me. They still get to see their father because I believe that having contact with their father is important. As a person that did not grow up with her dad, did not ever meet her father, it's very critical to me that they have that relationship. And they are all in counseling right now because they deserve to unpack and understand the trauma that they experienced, right, before they become adults, and also carry on the curses of their parents, right? So I do the work. I limit the contact with him as best I can, and I'm protecting them through conversations and honesty with them as well as their counseling.
So good. Thank you so much, Dr. King. I hope you see all the hearts floating in the wilds because that was deep. The next question is coming from Chrissy King, and she asks, what are the key traits evident in narcissistic men? Do these traits differentiate based on age?
Child. So I don't think so in terms of the age. I went into a rabbit hole, y'all, right? So after you actually get a name of what you're experiencing and actually accept what you're going through, you go into a rabbit hole. And I'm a researcher already, right? So I'm digging deep, I'm Googling, I'm reading books, and I didn't notice any difference in age, but the characteristics are very much the same, right? So it's rooted in childhood trauma, and it's rooted in fight mode, right? You have fight, flight, fawn, freeze, people please, right? So it's all in the same square of trauma. I just ended up on people pleasing, and he ended up on fight based on childhood trauma and abuse experience. Doesn't make it okay or justify any abuse you project onto other people. But the narcissistic traits were very much shifting the blame, the gaslighting tactics, kind of creating their own reality, manipulation. So there was a lot of tears from time to time about things because I'm still a social worker at heart, and I'm empathetic, right? So narcissists tend to feed off of the energy of like extremely excellent people and good-hearted and well-meaning intentioned people. And so they choose us for that reason because they are attempting to emulate what they don't have. They lack empathy. They don't have an understanding of what love is. And what's so crazy, y'all, is when I went to a therapy session with him not too far into our marriage, and I noticed this behavior decades ago, right? We were together for 2 decades. The counselor and therapist at the time said, he doesn't know what love is, so he's not going to be able to give it. And I still didn't hear it at the time. So narcissists tend to not know love. They don't know what empathy is. They gaslight, they project insecurities, and they're often telling you their truths by the way that they're insulting you. So the names that they call you, the way that they're telling you you're selfish, the way that they're telling you whatever the flaws are that they're attempting to always share with you, and now how you are always doing wrong, it's always your fault. That's really a projection of who they actually are that they've not chosen to accept or deal with.
This is so rich. I'm gonna keep these coming because the box is lit up, Doc. Okay, so this one is from Tiffany Brown. She asks, how do you handle PTSD ex-military? How do you handle a PTSD ex-military partner?
I think that's loaded. I think it depends on what experience you're having, and if they are and or are willing to choose to get help. What we tend to do is give them a way out and give them a justification and excuse and feel sorry for them. It's not their fault and it's not to blame because they had a bad childhood, because they experienced domestic violence, because they have PTSD, because they were in war and they have these wounds. And so, of course, they're going to be mad and angry, upset. It's not their fault, but it is their fault. We are the owners of our own stories. We are the controllers of our own narratives. We have the power and authority to change our behavior when we want to. If they want to be different, they will. It will take courage and bravery for them to choose to get the help that they need, so they will not walk around this earth bruising and scarring other people. And so you deal with it by attempting, when, depending on which mood and mode they in, because we know when they can be approachable, because we walked on eggshells enough to determine what they mood gonna be. We've learned that pretty good. You see an opportunity to have a conversation about what you need. Expressing your needs are okay. We often don't do that either, and that's how we end up in these situations, because we put ourselves on a back burner to where we don't even know what we need, what we desire, what we want, what we're looking for. So you determine what it is you need from your partner, what behaviors you need to change and or cease. You ask if they're willing to give that to you, and if they want to give that to you, the steps they need to take to get help to do that.
Ashe, you are a legend. My goodness. I'm going to throw this question up here just to diversify this a bit as we run out of time. So Nicole Player asks a good question. She says, how do you communicate with your kids about your divorce and what you experienced?
Whew, child. Okay. So this has been an ongoing tug of war for me, because while I want to be honest with them to the best of my ability, I still want to protect their innocence, and I don't want to badmouth their father. Like, we know about people that just badmouth the other parent, even if it's not a real justification, just because they mad. I have very valid reasons, and my truth is the truth. I'm not lying to them if I would have to tell them the whole story. But I think I chose to do it bit by bit, piece by piece. And some of it was surfaced because they already know, because they experienced it, they seen it, right? They seen it before I saw it because they smart. And so I'm honest with them to a degree. I'm careful about the words that I choose. I'm careful about the blame that I say, right? Because we both were to blame, what I accepted, what I didn't, right? Period. When I chose to walk away. And I allow them to express their feelings and thoughts to me as they want. And I have them in counseling so that they can do the same. I work really closely with their counselors. My son has a different counselor than my girls. It was important that he had a male counselor because of the ego and pride that his dad instilled in him with the toxic masculinity. So it was critical that in order for him to grow and not become his dad, he had a positive Black male figure to talk to. So I work closely with their counselors to ensure that those parts are discussed. We talk about what's healthy, what's unhealthy, and I named the fact that we had an unhealthy marriage. And then I named some of the things that occurred that were unhealthy: yelling, name calling, talked about what emotional and verbal abuse was without going into like scenarios that as specific as I was in the talk. I don't share that much with them, but I give them enough for them to understand what happened.
So good. Very quickly, and I'm not surprised because you're just a wealth of knowledge. We have hit the time, y'all. Please do tell them, Dr. King, how they can stay connected to you and continue to learn from you, walk with you, support you. What would you share?
So Instagram is going to be the best way. I already saw a few folks follow, and I've already actually chatted with y'all a little bit in the message. I was like, hey girl, hey. So you can find me on Instagram at Dr. King Speaks. Feel free to give me a follow. Send me a DM with any of the questions that came in today that you didn't get an answer to. Feel free to do that. And then talk about getting a consultation potentially.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Listen, you already know the first time I had a one-on-one with you, you had me crying over here. So I'm going to stay tight, close to you. I appreciate for everything you poured today. Thank you so much, Dr. King.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Have a good one.
Bye, sis. All right, y'all. So it's the DJ set right now and appropriately timed, okay? Because we're going to lift our spirits a bit. We're going to process a bit. We're going to process a little later with them, okay? But DJ said CJTO is about to spin on the ones and twos. Right after that, we're going to have a panel discussion called Quiet Quitting in Black Women. So keep it locked, okay? I'll see y'all on the other side. Peace.
DJ T.O. She's so dope.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Uh-oh. It's day 2.
See us in the club, just show a little love, represent your side like me. Round here, if you slip, you catch a hot one. One shot, a couple of them down one. Belvedere in the rear of the club, pulled up on dubs, so we about to go and buy the bar up. So for sure we ain't playing, hang with no lames, walk insane. Hey, where the party at? Girls is on the way with a Bacardi at. Yes, we do. I know the models talking all of that. You know I can't forget about my club. Where the party at? And all my girls. In their best outfit, just showing that skin, trying to make it on the spit. Where you been, girl? You and your friend need to come to the back. We got it locked down. In your white t-shirt or a 3-piece suit, don't matter what you wear. All that matters is who you with. Some jiggy, some straight grind. All up in the club just to have a good time. Hey, where the party at? Girls is on the way with a Bacardi at. Models and models talking all of that. No, I can't forget about my club. Where the party at?
DJ T.O. She's so dope.
Some of them be crawling. Get the best of you whenever I put my all in. Have mommies calling for the Lord, darling. Jigger and Paulin. Ass drop. Hoops with half the top. Expose half my knot. Nigga mad when I brag about the cash I got. But I'm used to not having a lot. I'm from the gutter and I ain't the type to ever chase your boss. I'm the type to interior decorate the watch. I'm the type to sling heavyweight on the block in every state like clock. Word jiggers to hurt. Holla.
Your lips are telling me yes. While you're kissing on my neck, making me feel so. Should I stay? Should I go? I don't know. Your hot boy style drives me wild. But in the back of my mind, I know. Wanna see how you put that thing on me? I can't let you mess of me, even though I wanna see.
Ride with me. Ride with me, Blaze Virtual Summit, hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit on all
5,
social
4, 3, 2,
media.
1. Carolina blue kicks, hottest on the block. Used to Willie bicycle since I was 6. High school, the crossover, wave the way picks. Music is the same, gave away hits. So my get it together or forget it forever. When I go at you hard, I can get it through leather. You act like Jigga can, get it whoever. Talking you got a man, okay, ma, and that's high school, making me chase you round for months. Having a fear, act like in the dough for once. Plus my hand is up your skirt, goddamn you flirt. What's a little me on top gonna hurt? Maybe a little, but pain is pleasure and pressure bust pipes. And you look like the I like it rough tight. We can crush the night, tell me what you like. I got a yellow bottle on a bucket of ice, get right. Young Hova.
Even though I wanna see how you put that thing on me.
You are not ready. Unstoppable dynasty, Young Hova.
Hustler, baby.
Hustler.
I just want you to know.
Let you know.
It ain't where I've been,
That ain't where I've been.
but where I'm about to go.
Top of the world.
I just wanna love you.
Just wanna love
Be
you.
who I am.
Know you love me.
All this cash.
Not ready. Unstoppable dynasty, Young Hova.
Hustler, baby.
Hustler.
I just want you to know.
Let you
Hi,
know.
yo,
It ain't where I've been,
That ain't where I've been.
but
where I'm about to go. Vibe with me.
I just wanna love you.
Just wanna love
Be
you.
who I am.
Know you love me.
With all this cash.
More money, more
Don't
problems.
forget your man. Now give it to me.
Give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
But don't bullshit me.
Come on, give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
When the Remy's in the system, ain't no telling when I fuck 'em, will I diss 'em. That's what they be yelling. I'm a pimp by blood, not relation. Y'all be chasing, I'll replace them, huh? Drunk on Chris, mommy on E. Can't keep a little model hands off me. Both in the club, singing off key.
Hi,
I
yo.
wish I never met
Hold
her
up.
at all. It gets better, ordered another round. It's about to go down. Got 6 model chicks, 6 bottles of Chris. 4 Belvedere's, got weed everywhere. What do you say? Me, you, and your Chloe glasses. Go somewhere private where we could discuss fashion, like Prada blouse,
What
Gucci
you
bra,
say?
okay, Filth my jeans,
Take that off.
Give it to me.
Give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
But don't bullshit me.
Come on, give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
Give it to me.
Give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
But don't bullshit me.
Mama, give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
Yeah, save the narrative, you saving it for marriage. Let's keep it real, man, you saving it for carriage. You wanna see how far I'ma go, how much I'ma spend, but you already know. Zip zero, stingy with the Niro. Might buy you crisp, but that about it. Might light your wrist, but that about it. I might wipe you and buy you nice whip, mom, but you really gotta ride nice. Know how to work your hips and your hands priceless. Confess your love to Hove and I never let you down. Get you bling like the Neptune sound. Okay, hot Hove, too hot to hold. Ladies love me long time like Tupac soul. Only way to roll, Jigga and 2 ladies, I'm too cold. Motorola, 2-way page. Come on,
Give it to me.
Give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
But don't bullshit me.
Come on, give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
Give it to me.
Give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
But don't bullshit me.
Mama, give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that gushy stuff.
It's the DJ T.O.
She's so dope.
Baby girl, you know my situation. And sometimes I know you get impatient, but you don't put on a show to get ovations. Take it to court and go through litigations. And I respect your gangster. Treat you like a princess and put some on your neck to thank you. She's my pinch hitter. When the starting lineup ain't playing right, I come off the bench with her. It might sound like I'm gassing ya, but it takes time to get from the backseat to the passenger. We've been creeping and sneaking just to keep it from leaking. We so deep in our freaking and we don't sleep on the weekend. Wifey's a little bit uptight. Wonder why I keep coming home in the middle of the night. It'll be alright. If y'all bump heads, it'll be a fight. But I said it'll be alright. Come on.
I really wanna be with you. Wanna be real with you. I can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong, but I can't let you go. You're the one I want in my life. I already got a wife. Can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong.
Ride with me, take it back.
You ain't never step out of line or get out of pocket, so I made sure canary sit out your locket to protect you. I get out and cock it, and you know the barrel of my big enough to spit out a rocket. Oh, You gon' play dumb if cops do come through. I gotta keep the top up if my drop do come through. But I know the boutiques and shops you run through. So I cop her one and cop you one too. You always get a daily page, weekly ring. Plus you ain't too shy to do them freaky things. I ain't gotta put a band on your finger. I worry about you telling the whole world I'm your man while I'm Springer. At first you was something I denied, something I would slide, just to do something in the ride. But shorty, it's something you provide. Cause the entree ain't as good without something on the side, you know.
I really wanna be with you. Wanna be real with you. I can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong, but I can't let you go. You're the one I want in my life. I already got a wife. Can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong, but I can't let you go.
What's poppin'? Happy Tuesday. I go by the name of DJ T.O. The illest CJ. Hashtag she's so dope. Listen, you got a request, talk to me. You see the hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. Tap in with me, and of course at CJ T.O.
Children growing, women producing, and go work inside the state. Everyone's got to make a living.
We off the block this year. Went from a low to a lot this year. Everybody mad at the rocks that I wear.
I know where I'm going and I know where I'm from. You hear locks in the air.
Yeah, we at the airport out. D-block from the block where everybody Air Force out.
With a new white tee, you fresh. Nothing phony with us. Make the money, get the mansion, bring the homies with us.
By the rocks that I got, I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. From the living color to movie scripts to all the six to J-Lo to this headline clips. I stay grounded as the amounts roll in. I'm real, I thought I told you. I'm real, even on no bruh. That's just me. Nothing phony, don't hate on me. What you get is what you see. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. I'm down to earth like this, rocking this business. I've grown up so much, I'm in control and loving it. Rumors got me laughing, kid. I love my life and my public. Put God first and can't forget to stay real. To me, it's like breathing. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still
Vibe
Jenny
with
from
me.
the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from.
We gonna turn up today. It is Tuesday. We gonna throw it back and turn up at the same time, man. These just dope vibes only. You got a request at CJTO, and of course, use that hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. Even if you don't got a request, let us know you rocking with us.
Wait a minute. I don't think y'all ready for this one. Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute. I don't think y'all ready for this one. Wait a minute. Hold up. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey.
You remember this one?
Girl, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey. Wait a minute. Working all day, and now it's on. Pull up and don't pay, and the line is long. Girls in the club, I wanna ice, grilling his thugs. I wanna thumb. Is it 'cause I'm a shine? Major ice. I'm talking about blind ya, Vegas lights. Never on the scene without my team. Cali, sticky green. It's on and poppin'. The DJ's rockin'. Chickens is watching. It's on tonight. You had a long day, yo. But the sham by the caseloads. Pocket full of pesos. It's on tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey. Girl, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey. Yo, if y'all know the words, say it with me.
It's the CJ, DJ T.O.
She's so dope.
I swear, I'ma vibe with me.
DJ T.O.
You don't have to call. It's okay, girl. 'Cause I'ma be alright tonight. You don't have to call. It's okay, girl. 'Cause I'ma be alright tonight. Situations will arise in our lives, but you gotta be smart about it. Celebrations with the guys I sacrificed, 'cause I knew you could not sleep without it. Meanwhile, I loved you. You were my girl. You see, the world of you, but you're so steady, baby. It's okay, girl, 'cause I'ma be alright tonight. You don't have to call. It's okay, girl, 'cause I'ma be alright tonight.
Vibe with me. It's Tuesday, man. We gonna turn up. Vibe with me.
Honestly, if I tell you what you wanna know, love, there ain't another. Don't want no other lover. I'll put nothing above ya. I kick 'em to the gutter. You try to shake me, wound up loving me crazy now. Look at us lately and tell 'em who's your lady. I
Tell Spanky on it. The remix to the remix with Yankee on it.
Esto es un fongo, un shimmy con Nori on it. Un reggaeton con Dem Star and Made on it.
Oh, we about to take it here. It's Tuesday.
DJ T.O. She's so dope. DJTO.
Ride with me. I'm just having fun right now. Happy Tuesday. Hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. Hold up.
It's after midnight and she's on your phone. Saying come over cause she's all alone. I could tell it was your ex by your tone. Why is she calling now after so long? Now what is it that she wants? Tell me what is it that she needs? Did she hear about the brand new biz that you just bought for me? Cause y'all didn't have no kids. Didn't share no mutual friends. And you told me that she turned trick when y'all broke up in 96. What you gonna do when you can't say no? And it feels like a show, boy, I really need to know it. How you gonna act? How you gonna handle that? What you gonna do when she wants you back? What you gonna do when you can't say no? And it feels like a show, boy, I really need to know it. How you gonna act? How you gonna handle that? What you gonna do when she wants you back? What you gonna do when you can't say no? And it feels like a show, boy, I really need to know it. How you gonna act? How you gonna handle that? What you gonna do when she wants you back? There's no need to reminisce about the past. Obviously, cause that shit did not last. So how a woman will try to game you. Don't get caught up because baby you lose. What is it that she wants? What is it that she wants? What is it that she needs? Should she hear about the brand new biz that you just bought for me? Cause y'all didn't have no kids, didn't share no mutual friends. No, no, no. And you told me
DJ T.O.
That's why we're jamming in the party, and you're waiting on me, pushing everything. Right back on top of me, yeah. But if you think you're gonna get away from me, you better change your mind. You're going home. You're going home with me tonight. Let me hold you, go caress my body. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on. Let me charm you, go wine all around me. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on.
When I get on, I go get with tonight. If she thinks say man, I go fight. Me don't see that with popcorn and Sprite. Walk on play with like kite.
One another ground a bumper cock sky, whining hard on me, got my python hollering from mercy, yeah. Then the whisper in the ring, so wine harder, and then she said to me, boy, just push that thing, push it harder back on me. So let me hold you, go caress my body. You got me going crazy. You
Turn me up, turn me up. Baby, let me love you. Put your arms around me. You got me going crazy. Turn me up, turn me up.
From the moment you was dancing in the party, pushing out on me, giving everything. You're giving everything tonight. And if you thought you could get away from me and get away from me, girl, just take your time. You're coming on with me tonight. Girl, I got a question for you. Can I get an answer? Yeah, 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 yeah. Girl, I got a question for you. Can I get an answer? Yeah, 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 yeah. She only love me 'cause I'm dangerous. That boom boom sound like angel dust. Girl, let me hold ya. Put me ting all around ya. Make me feel like I own ya. Kill it boom like a warrior. Hit the boom like. Girl, I got a question for ya. Can I get an answer? Yeah, 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 yeah. Girl, I got a question for ya. Can I get an answer? Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's the DJ T.O.
She's so dope.
I'm so when I see you standing there in front of me. Your style, your clothes, your hair, your flair, woman, you look so sexy. The way you whine and way you dance and the way that you twist and turn your waist. Leaves me wanting, leaves me yearning, leaves me feeling for a taste. Before the end of the night,
Vibe with me.
I wanna hold you so tight. You know I want you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch.
DJ T.O. She's so dope.
To my talk on love my things and my ex in the video go promiscuous. My style is ridiculous, ridiculous. See us in the club, but we like to feel nice. See us on the floor, we'll be watching all night. We ain't here to work the body. Wanna see you work the body.
When the boys in the party, everybody
We gonna switch gears.
You're now in the mix with DJ T.O.
Just saying, came in with an FN. Two girls with him told me he ain't got a preference. Had them both down and I asked a few questions. Met last week and they already best friends, already best friends. Met last week and they already best friends. Met last week and they already best friends. She's a Georgia State freshman. Told her I'ma pull up at your place at 10. Girl, you look good, I would risk everything. Make me forget what safe sex is. I'ma finish right now if I don't take breaths in. I recommend you don't listen to your friends. It ain't been the same since they stepped in. 25 deep in the same section. I'm on fire, you off hand. Tell me this ain't something that you do often. I can't say the same, so use caution. Just saying, came in with an FN. Two girls with him told me he ain't got a preference. Had them both down and I asked a few questions. Met last week and they already best friends, already best friends. Met last week and they already best friends. Met last week and they already best friends.
Two at a time laying in my bed. One at the top and the other give me. Girl on girl, I love the taste. You can run around, I love the chase. If you need a break cause you thirsty, don't trip cause I know you're burning up. She say she love me but she want her 11-11. Baby, make a wish and I'ma do what you want. Ain't no more intermission, I'm tryna see what you want.
Just saying, came in with an FN. Two girls with him told me he ain't got a preference. Had them both down and I asked a few questions. Met last week and they already best friends, already best friends. Met last week and they already best friends, friends. Met last week and they already best friends.
Use the hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. Shout out to the Blaze Group LLC for putting together a dope conference and summit for women.
Talk big t-shirt, Billy. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Mile high, run that back, some stylish. Talk big t-shirt, Billy. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Hey, mile high, go first class, I'm the pilot. Put it in perspective. I got everything I wanted and some extra. I am not the type of turning into a detective. Got two on my own phone, barely even checked them. Uber eats the food I don't call, I just text them. Guess I don't bail, my little got a vested. It's on my Lexus, no backseat, so no besties. I checked it, no guest list, so don't text. Hey, 2 pistols, 30s in the clip, these are Kimbos. Open hand, smack him in his mid, I'm Kimbo. You be throwing cash on the strip, my little sucking for the free. I got a but a they got me. I know she trip when I dip, so I they pillow talking about me like I'm sick, but she ain't know this shit. 3 years in my teeth, I'm stylish. Talk big t-shirt, Billie Eilish. Proud of it from the back on the island. Heard it talking crazy when my man now is silent. Run that back, I'm stylish. Talk big t-shirt, Billie Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Mile high, run that back, I'm stylish. Talk big t-shirt, Billie Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Mile high, go first class, I'm the pilot.
Come on, ladies, vibe with me. Shout out to the Blaze Group LLC. Hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. I guarantee you won't.
You won't break my soul. 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 I'm telling everybody, 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 everybody. Now I just fell in love. And I just quit my job. I'm gonna find no driver.
mind. Release your strain, release the stress, release your love, forget the rest.
I'ma let down my hair, cause I lost my mind. B is back and I'm sleeping real good at night. The queen's in the front and the dom's in the back. Ain't taking no flicks, but the whole click snap. There's a whole lot of people in the house trying to smoke with the yak in your mouth. And we back outside. You said you outside, but you ain't that outside. Worldwide hoodie with the mask outside. In case you forgot how we act outside. Motivation. I found me a new foundation, yeah. Taking my new salvation. And I'ma build my own foundation, yeah. Now, baby, you won't break my soul. 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 And I'm telling everybody, yeah. You don't see it, you won't see it, that we all know. Break my soul. You don't think it, you won't be it, that love ain't yours. Break my soul. Trying to fake it never makes it, that we all know. Break my soul. Have the stress and I'll take less, I'll justify love.
DJ T.O. She's so dope.
All of this winning, I've been losing my mind. Oh, hold on, don't try to slow me down. Hold on, don't try to slow me down. And now to make a fool for it. You gon' need a natural when to lose the boy. Ratchet, you a tool, the boy. Mama say I'm tripping, daddy say I'm tripping. Mouth talking dirty, but my lips so clean. I'm a body like a bumper car sticker. Better make it smile when you see that bitch pull up. Money don't make me happy, and a fella can't make me fancy. I'm smiling for a whole nother reason. It's all smiles through all 4 seasons. Shining, yeah. All of this winning, I've been losing my mind. Oh, hold on, don't try to slow me down. Hold on, don't try to slow me down. Yeah, I dropped the top out the coupe. They try to get at me, ooh. They say I'm sweet just like you. Yeah. Say yeah. Said everything young, yeah. Petty, I've been winning steady. Yes, all up on your grill, the boy. Popping off at the mouth out, yeah, boy. Came out 97, winning 20 years, boy. Oh, all is good, I don't feel bad for it. Yeah, when you see me smile, you can't be mad at it. Yeah, money don't make me happy, and a fella can't make me fancy. We're smiling for a whole other reason. It's all smiles through all 4 seasons. Shining, yeah. All of this winning, I've been losing my mind. Oh, hold on, don't try to slow me down. Hold on, don't try to slow me down.
Shout out to my ladies out there winning. I go by the name of DJ T.O. the LSCJ hashtag she's so dope. Hit me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that at SheJTO. And of course, use the hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit. Vibe with me.
First off, mind your business. Bad bags every day like Christmas. Attitude don't you pay me. It take more than a Bentley to pay. Got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't. Got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't. Ooh. I love when they chase me. Good luck if you tryna replace me. 220 on the dash like Stacy. And yeah, that fine, but he moved too jank. Got me. I don't trust him. If he don't got more than me, I can't. If he don't got what I need, I duck him. I don't pop like a pea, I bust him. Bad gon' shop, no gimmicks. Brand new drop top, not renting. And every time a start, I finish. If it ain't money in the text, don't send it. First off, mind your business. Bad bags every day like Christmas. Attitude don't you pay me. It take more than a Bentley to pay. Got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't. Got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't.
Please got me fucked up. Lying on that little, you ain't touching nothing.
Caddy caught me the lamb, did his big one. High up on a reach, name Kenson. Tight, fat, wet, no smell. I be buying burgers like them on sale. He be in the field, but he ain't in the NFL. Got back my way before the BBL. Just twice my age, but I ain't half as paid. If he ain't getting more than me, then he ain't getting no play. Only business that I mind is the one that pay. My kids gon' have they way. First off, mind your business. Bad every day like Christmas. Attitude on you pay me. It take more than a Bentley to pay. Got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't got me. I don't trust him. If he ain't got more than me, can't.
CJTO.
What you heard, that's true, yeah. Him and you, yeah. If you believe I do that, had to cut them all loose, yeah. Indy ain't no loose lips. Now they all tryna sue me. Psh, I don't give two lips. All the rumors are true, yeah. I've been in the bamboo, yeah. Focused on this music. My ex man, he blew it. Last year I thought I would lose it. Reading on the internet, my smoothie cleanser might die. No, I ain't smashed Drake yet. Spending all your time trying to break a woman down. Real things are going on, baby. Take a look around. If you thought that I was ratchet with my hanging out, just wait until the summer when they let me out the house. Yep.
Yeah, fake booze, yeah. Made $1 million at suits, yeah. Y'all be running with fake news, yeah. Cardi and poppin', no, that's the machine. Nobody listen, they buying them streams. They even posted on blogs overseas. I'm lying a language I can't even read. The f does this mean? I'm a Bronx to some pop hits. Used to pop off when they pop hits. But I'm calmed down and I'm locked in. And my records live in the top 10. Let's go. Teach me about big girl. Okay. Last time I got freaky, the FCC sued me. But I'ma keep doing what I wanna do. Cause all the rumors are true.
Yeah, they hated on me since school, yeah. I never thought I was cool, yeah. Now me and Cardi, we cool, yeah. I love pros on pros, yeah. I am body goals, yeah. This here from my soul, yeah. Black people may rock and roll, yeah. Why you spending all your time trying to break a woman down? Real things are going on, baby. Take a look around. If you thought that I was ratchet with my hanging out, just wait until the summer when they let me out the house. Yeah. Give them something to talk about. Sick of wars, but haters do what they do.
Info Vibes, happy Tuesday.
DJ T.O. She's so dope.
Baby, something's on my mind, I gotta say it. Yeah, your loving done changed. It ain't the same, girl, and that's a shame. Ooh, ain't being fun. I know another bee's been in that hunt. Ooh, baby, loving done changed. It's such a shame.
out just to make a statement. He gon' need a body bag or a knapsack. He'll fold under pressure. I can tell from his posture, man, he ain't really like that. Mama told me I don't care if you scared, go in for the kill. If they try, you better fight back. We done beat his if he try to throw the folks up. What's all that you was saying like you was so tough? They gon' have to carry your mans if he approach us. Creeping in that glizzy of blam when we get close up. Rich gangsta, my gun match the color of my cop. Any sudden movement, this go far. Bet I have him hugging our law. I'm the GOAT, I'm a thug, I'm a star. Young trying to clear a crowd with the heat. When you rhyme, better keep it 40 cal by the seat. He was making wrong till they found him deceased. There's a whole lot of evil woman around in the streets. So you better look both ways. Make your soul shake. Demon standing in the doorway. Tell me, honey, are you okay? Screaming out, no way. Tell me, honey, are you okay? Still on that bullshit, MJ. Really one of the hottest, and I never dropped a mixtape. All my life had to risk take. But if they come and try me, 40 kick it to my wrist break. Let anybody in this play. I'ma have my C's leave his in the ground with the stiff face. Where I'm from, all the killers turn hood legend. And they known through them blocks like the Kimbe. Told on something bigger than the Great Khali. 30 shots to knock him down like Muhammad Ali. Do the race, scratch off in the track off G. Catch him lacking, then it's R.I.P. Young trying to clear a crowd with the heat. When you rhyme, better keep it 40 cal by the seat. He was making wrong till they found him deceased. There's a whole lot of evil woman around in the streets. So you better look both ways. Make your soul shake. Demon standing in the doorway. Tell me, honey, are you okay? Screaming out, no way. Tell me, honey, are you okay?
Listen to this track.
Girl, the way you moving got me in the train. DJ, turn me up. Ladies, this your thing. Girl, the way you moving got me in the train. DJ, turn me up. Ladies, this your thing. Girl, the way you moving got me in the train. DJ, turn me up.
Shout out to my ladies.
Ladies, this your thing.
Shout out to the Blaze Group LLC for putting all the dope in it. For black female entrepreneurs. Wait, no, let's go.
She don't care when she walks, she gets stairs, brown skin or a yellow bone. DJ, this my favorite song, so I'ma make it thunderstorm. Blood want it, block a hell, flow it, I don't care. Blessings flying everywhere. Got my partner Roscoe like, bro, I'm drinking hell, can't you tell? Do 70 bands that fit this stat so fucking well. I'm trying to hit the hotel with two girls, that's why I don't wait. Take this dick when I swallow. Hey, Moscato got a freaky. Hey, you got me in the trends. Please take off your pants. Pop up on the hands, then you got me sweating. Please let's be a fact.
Girl, the way you moving got me in the trance. DJ, turn me up. Ladies, this your thing. I'ma sip Moscato. You gon' move them pants. I'ma throw this money while you do it with no hands. Girl, drop it to the floor. I love the way your booty goes. All I wanna do is sit back and watch you move and I'ma sing it on this cash.
She said, look, ma, no hands. She said, look, ma, no hands and no darling. I don't dance and I'm with Roscoe, I'm with Walker. I think I deserve a chance. I'm a bad motherfucker. Going at some motherfuckers, a young handsome motherfucker. I sling that, just unchuck 'em and who you with and what's your name? And you not hip, boo, I'm Wale. And that DC shit, I rap all day. And my eyes red cause I all that. Don't blow my high, let me shine. Drum on the beat, let me take my time. No, one beat, we can take it outside. Fuck what, bro? These ain't mine. Is you out your mind? You out your league. I sweat no they wear out weeds, wear out tracks. Let me do my thing. I got 16 for this Roscoe thing, but I'm almost done. Let me get back to it. Whole lot of in the low backwood. Whole lot of money, big tip I would. I put on the train, little engine could.
Hold up.
Girl, the way you moving got me in the trance. DJ, turn me up. Ladies, this your thing. I'ma sip Moscato. You gon' move them pants. I'ma throw this money while you do it with no hands. Girl, drop it to the floor. I love the way your booty goes. All I wanna do is sit back and watch you move and I'ma
We gotta let this one ride. We gon' let this one ride.
Roscoe,
Oh, yo, R-O-S-C-O, we missed it.
Shawty, put it on me. Please, I be going ham. Shorty upgrade from bologna. Please, them niggas tipping good, girl, but I can make it fly. Cause I walk around with pockets that are bigger than my bust. Whoa. Rain, go away. That's what all my haters say. My pocket's stuck on overload. My ring never
say he hungry, this cookie the kitchen. Yeah, that's my dog, he gon' sit down and listen. Call him a trick and he don't get a hold up. Yeah, I'm a store, I got your baby wishing. He say he hungry, this cookie the kitchen. Yeah, that's my dog, he gon' sit down and listen. Call him a trick and he don't get offended. He know he giving his money to Megan. He know it's very expensive to date me. Told him go put my name on that account because when I need money, I ain't tryna holler. He know he giving his money to Megan. He know it's very expensive to date me. Told him go put my name on that account because when I need money, I ain't tryna wait. I can't be with, no, you can't touch this. Ayy, I got who rich, my money thick, ayy, walk with a limp, I'm on some pimp shit. Ayy, he say you all about money, yeah, I'm on that cash, I'm in my bag, ayy, yeah, I'm on your ayy, yeah, I'm in that new you on that last year, and I do pimp girl, you on simp Ay, he say you all about money, yeah, I'm on that cash.
You know how they love me? Why? Cause baby don't give what you do. I be fixing the weed while she's out, then I back and killing her. Know how I give it up. I be cool on them, ain't no pressure. Till I met this little and they Maggie. This little thing here style. Look how she walk, look how she talk, she sexy. I like when they pretty and ghetto. Type of don't even say hello. And whenever we back, put her in the headlock with my elbow. Now she done reversed. Got a bone like a Camaro.
I can't be no, you can't touch this. Ayy, I got who rich, my money thick, ayy, walk with a limp, I'm on some pimp shit. Ayy, he say you all about money, yeah, I'm on that cash, I'm in my bag, ayy, yeah, I'm on your ayy, yeah, I'm in that new you on that last year, and I do pimp girl, you on simp Ay, he say you all about money, yeah, I'm on that cash,
I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Get them crossing the line today. The hate be so real, the love be fake. Be bumping they gums and bumping my tape. Don't go against me, they ask for my help. Go get out your feelings and get it yourself. Might got the same shoes, but you ain't gon' step. That you just put out, you could've kept. Yup, she got a he got a shirt. Why? You can't compete when you can't compare. She ate the through my underwear. Got up and got herself out of there. I see they put me on memes and things. Don't speak on my life without knowing the real. 8 figures a year, what it cost me to live. Don't hold it, just say what you feel. But watch your mouth before I fly at you. To a place that she didn't know exists. Mediterranean water my wrist. Keeping on piss how I'm talking my 6 figure check for a show, man, I'm lit. Let's celebrate, now my bag legit. These niggas with me with whatever I'm with. Didn't know who did it, got it by the hit. I don't like nobody. We can get gangster, we can keep it cordial. How you wanna go back? How you wanna do it? I don't backtrack, man. That. I don't miss nobody. I don't miss nothing. Left it on scene, I ain't right back. I don't trust nobody. I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. I'm crossing the line today. These will cry and be lying in your face. Slicker than us, gotta know how they play. If the money wasn't straight, you wouldn't be here today. Ain't that man sure know what to say. You ain't me, so it's hard to relate. But how much cash I off every day? Big bag every day. Big bag every day. Big bag every day.
Shout out to all my ladies vibing with us right now. Shout out to the Blaze Group LLC. Make sure you use that hashtag Blaze Virtual Summit on all social media. Of course, we doing this all week.
Straightening, yeah. Straightening, yeah. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. You don't get straight, you don't straighten it. In this game, sit back, be patient. Act like the game went vacant. Act like some been taken. What? Ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening. Been kicking, popping out daily. On the island, it's a movie I'm making. I'm counting the narrows with Robert De Niro. He telling them that you're amazing. Put that on. Get on. I bought 2 whips and I put my boot on. She put this wrist on. She factory said it went rich and meal prone. Turn a pandemic into a pandemic. You know that we on. Yes, sir. Them gon' pull up and L at this together won't get what you homes. I don't do the fake kicking. No. There go a rocket, it's taking it. It's a problem with you, then we straightening it. Swap out the cap, put a demon in it. Upgrade the band up, put fiends in it. I got some shooters you ain't seen with me. We're running back, I just seen tenant. We gonna get straightening. Yeah, straightening, yeah. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. You don't get straight, you don't straighten it. You don't get straightening if you don't straighten it. No, I'm the type to sit back and watch patient. Do a trick with the stick, it's amazing. In the bando, chopping out bacon. Rolls on like I'm starting
in the matrix. I keep the cookie like my grandma made it. I get the keys and the pounds and the babies. And the bricks came white like shady. Drive the Lambo through the avenue. Pretty little bitch with an attitude. Give a shout out to them white boys. All white rolls look radical. Keep you a fire, don't let them take it. If they get charged, you gotta get straight. I got your op, I give them a facelift. My niggas lurking and spending the day shift. I got them rat when you see me. Rack A's. Spin back to back, it's a repeat. Championship, it's a 3-piece. Shoot out the window like Drizzy and Freaky. I keep it on me, believe me. Yes, sir. I be up high where the trees be. I go and put on so much of this ice. They say don't touch me, you gon' freeze me.
Straightening, 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 yeah.
Straightening,
straightening, yeah. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. You don't get straight, you straightening.
Get my straightening. Automatic handgun like the Navy. I keep 100 round drum, ain't fading. Turn it to a mummy with a payment. Terminate with the money, it was great. Spin a op block, rock about baby. Made it talk stop, made it mama hate me. We were trapping at the spot, out the base. Tasmanian devil, we spin on your block. Spin. I pop a perk and I'm gone berserk. And I woke up and bought me a job. Like straight to the point, I get straight to the straight. And your buddy, he can't even walk. We gutted them, nobody talk. We gutted new color, then start to fall. New trapping and hustling, beat down the wall. On with the stepper, Northside rebel. No, keep a Mac in the back of the Tesla. On with the gang, we can never be selfish. Watch how I dress, I'm the dripping professor. Saw the kill tech, then I bought a compressor. Time to press them, eat them for breakfast. Taught them a lesson, I'm never confessing. Never my message, somebody stretch them.
Straightening, 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 yeah. Straightening, 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 yeah. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. Don't nothing get straightening but straightening. You don't get straight, you straightening.
I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Happy Tuesday. Shout out to the Blaze Group LLC for having me. Again, we gonna do this all week. I go by the name of DJ T.O. Of course, it's at SheJTO on all social media. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. That's all I got.
What's up, Black women all across the world? It's day 2 of the Blaze Virtual Summit, Winter 2022, and y'all keep it popping. I am so excited that everybody is here, especially for this conversation, quiet quitting and Black women. Because they haven't inserted us yet, but Black women are entering the chat today. We have the perfect voices and thought leaders on this conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves before we get into some things. I want to start with you, Kayla. Can you please share a bit about your background, your business, and your passion today?
Absolutely. What's up, everybody? My name is Kayla Life. I am the rebrand strategist, aka the main character cultivator, right here in Rebrand Land, home in the main character, where we teach you how to be the center of your story. My background really comes heavily from education. I held no job outside of education before starting my own design business. But with that being said, in that realm of education, I've worked as a teacher, a school counselor, the DEI lead, the researcher. I'm building a school currently as we speak. So I'm very familiar with what our topic is and what we're going to be doing and how we can just move our entire culture forward in this area.
Ashe, and I always tell Kayla, it's like her last name is on point. Like every time she opens her mouth, it's just full of vibrancy. Kayla, I'm so happy that you're part of this discussion today. Rakita, on over to you, Mama. Tell us your story.
Yeah, my name is Rakita Franklin. I am the founder and CEO of Sonnet Consulting, where I help diverse leaders with communication and active listening skills for genuine collaboration with their staff to really just build better teams. So my background really comes from a lot of everything. I have a bachelor's degree in vocal music and philosophy. And once I graduated and realized that I had a degree that was worth a whole bunch of nothing, I flailed a little bit. I did customer service and hospitality and realized that I don't want to talk to people every day. I really value connections with folks, but I can't do it at this level and this well on a daily basis. So I went back to my alma mater, Lincoln University of Missouri, and started working at Trio. And that was my introduction to higher education, was like coming back home, coming back to work for a program I had worked for before, well, that I was a participant in, and really helping people like myself. And that's where I started in higher education. And to be honest, with the pandemic, I was happy that everyone was working virtually, but your girl has had a flexible schedule all of her life. So when I took my flexible schedule away, I was like, okay, this is the time. Like, no one's going to give me what I need but me. So my background in adult education and training really leads me to do anything that I want to do, as long as I do it with adults. So my passion today is to empower adults to continue to be lifelong learners.
That's so dope. Full circle moments, and then you still said, I'm betting on me. That's what's up, Rakita. And do you sing?
I sing at home. The goal is
Okay.
to start singing again, but it's one of those things that if you don't use it, you really do lose it. So I'm interested in finding me a trainer here soon and starting to sing again.
Super dope. I sing. I love it. I mean, it's been a minute, so maybe I need to start saying what you're saying, but I love that. Like, if you do start singing again, keep me posted, sis, because I want to be there virtually or in person with all the snaps. Okay.
I got you.
Thank you. Super dope. And then last but definitely not least, we have a beautiful spirit by the name of Tamara in this conversation today. Tamara, please tell everyone a little bit about your background, your business, and your passion.
Hello. My name is Tamara Lincoln. I'm the CEO and founder of Lincoln Stone Paper. So Lincoln Stone Paper is waterproof, water-free, tree-free, and biodegradable products. We focus on protecting and saving the earth one stone at a time. My passion actually stemmed from my children themselves. They kept destroying my books, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're not about to keep doing that. So I ended up creating this indestructible notebook and also indestructible books for my children. My background is also education and nonprofit organization help, and also coaching. I'm a cheer coach. So that all actually collaborates together and just one big punch to the world to just make it better. So thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I love that. I'm happy you're here, sis. Indestructible books. I would have never even considered that before. So keep going, sis. Like, the sky is not even the limit. I think that's super fire, and we got to have more Black women's names visibly on our shit. Okay. Dope. Well, it's time to get into it. Okay. I'm so excited about this conversation because of all the things our elders told us about what we had to do and how we had to show up and the way the world worked, right? And I'm excited that these thought leaders are on the discussion today to say whatever it is, right? And this is pre-planned, right? To say whatever it is they feel about this concept, but I want to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. So quickly, I'll define what quiet quitting is, okay? This phrase describes the current swell that's happening globally, honestly, where employees are deciding to only work within their work hours, okay, and not a minute more, and to only do, right, what is in the job description, right? And again, within those hours, okay? So nothing is spilling over, okay? Period. Ladies, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this act of rebellion. I see it as an act of rebellion. And how do you think it's correlated with the recurring notion that we've always had to be twice as good to get half as far? Okay. I want to start with you, Rakita. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so quiet quitting, or as some people call it, acting your wage, as the old folks will call it, being a job description employee. I love this. And the fact that it is seen as an act of rebellion is astonishing, if you ask me. I've always been a job description employee, and the times that I decided not to do that and I decided to go above and beyond, I was never compensated. And for me, never acknowledged. So for me, work is what it is. It's a contract. I'm getting something out of you and you getting something out of me. And the moment you're not getting the things out of me that you would like to get out of me, you're going to have a conversation or you're going to let me go. And I feel the same way about an employer. This is a contract and I came here to get something. And with my last position, I really obtained the job to be better in my business. It was all of the things that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do it in a low stakes, low risk, low money way. So I got a job. And once that job no longer served me, I had to go. But I think quiet quitting is a wonderful way to do your job and do all of the things that you are supposed to do, but also get some other things done within this time, because we really are meant to follow our passions and to be with our families and to really have more ownership over our time. I think to not quietly quit is really an act of letting folks cross your boundaries. I support it.
Man, that's so good. Even for me right now, because literally I did not stop quiet quitting until I quit the job. But like, I did not start quiet quitting until I quit the job. I was furious over being 10 times colder than the folk who were multiple levels above me, right? They were calling me to speak to the person who reported to the C-suite in a 200,000 person organization, right? And I'm having to ask them stupid questions like, so what is this going to translate in as far as comp? What is it translating into? And they looking dumbfounded, right? I love that you've always had the audacity of the mediocre white man to say, look, okay, y'all want me to do this right here? I'm gonna get it done and I'm out. I think that's so fire, man. And I admire you. I admire that you have had the ability to showcase that in front of whoever's been looking up to you, because I did it a different way and I led people a certain way, and now I'm trying to course correct and say, nah, girl, don't kill yourself. It ain't that deep. Super dope. Does anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the very opposite side, I have always been an above and beyond type of person for the simple fact that my background's in education. So, and my mindset, if I don't go above and beyond for my kids, no one's going to do so. And in that standpoint, I was working on the benefit of my school community and my children and my families, and I could really give a damn about anybody else that was involved in the process. But, you know, if you are an educator in a field of just service work, right, and you're working as a service, there's a lot of times where you are giving 200%. And if you ever, you know, if anyone has ever seen me in the school setting or seen me with my kids, they would always say, life is on 200. Life is on 200, because that's my normal everyday energy. But I started to notice when I came in at 100, just standard teacher, right? Standard counselor. Maybe I don't feel like being overjoyous today. Maybe something happened with me at home that I don't feel like I need to give a 200%. I just need to come in and do my job. Now everyone's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? What's the problem? Are you sad? Are you hurt? And I'm like, I'm just regular, like just doing the regular thing. Like, what is the problem? So this aspect of quiet quitting for me, even if I was to give you my personal background story of how I quiet quit into my own business, I was a teacher during the pandemic. I have been a educator for years, actually all of my life. During the pandemic, I was a technology teacher. And just to give you even further background, my school was the only school that had a tech program because I built it. Those students did not have access to technology. They did not know how to open and close a laptop, barely send an email. And this is a school that said that they were sending students to college preparatory high schools. It was in New York. Well, that mission doesn't line up with what you're saying you're giving little Black kids. So I went to my principal at the time. I said, our kids need to have a tech program. She says, who's going to teach it? I was the counselor at the time, the school counselor. And I said, I'll teach it. She's like, well, who's going to be their counselor? I said, you'll find another one, right? And I shifted myself into a whole nother position where I created this technology program. So fast forward to the pandemic, where there are 8 schools in this network, and my school is the only school that is ready to go into the pandemic because they know how to use Google Classroom. They know how to use Zoom. They know how to turn in their assignments because they've had this license in 5th grade. Now we're sitting here and the CEO calls my phone. I'll never forget this. She calls my phone and she says, hey, I heard that your school's doing a great job, you know, and all of the leaders attribute that to you and like how you worked with the kids and their tech. And we're super, super happy about that. Listen, I'm going to have to pull you from working in your classrooms, teaching 7th grade at the time. She says, I'm going to have to pull you from your classroom and I need you to move up. And I need you to come into the network and teach everybody else. I need you to do whatever you did for your school community for the rest of the 7 schools, where in a sense, right? And my very young, not really understanding what was going on brain, I said, wow, that's such a great honor, right? Like I get to now take my talents and show the rest of the school community what I'm doing. But we talk about how culturally we've been taught a specific thing, that you have to be twice as good to even level up to what they're doing. Right. So I'm like, oh, this is my opportunity to show them I'm 4 times as good as what they're doing. Like I can do all this stuff. So she's literally moved me away from my classroom. And now my kids are no longer receiving technology courses, which they loved. Right. It was probably their favorite, in all arrogance, their favorite class of the day. She's pulled me from that. And now I'm in 7 different schools, training principals, families, teachers, talking to their kids, making sure that they have what they need for tech. I was not compensated at all, right? And that hit me because, you know, my good old mama, she said, they paying you for this? I was like, no, but I mean, I'm not teaching. She was like, it doesn't matter. You're doing way more than your job description says you should be getting paid. And so the opportunity came. I don't know if you guys remember the education system got a buttload of money for the pandemic. And so what they decided was, okay, we're going to give bonuses to people that went above and beyond during the pandemic. That was the criteria. Teachers that went above and beyond would get a $5,000 bonus. So everyone knew I'm a shoo-in for that. Come on, baby. I've been attributed to saving the entire school during the pandemic, just with my talents and just with how I communicate with people. And we sit on that football field and my principal calls out 5 teachers and not one of them is mine. My name is not said at all in that space. And I sat there blank face. And you got all of my staff, all of my teachers looking at me, you okay? And it's like a trigger hitting my head. I was like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good. This is great. This is wonderful. Because what they didn't realize is God had already told me I needed to leave this job. He had already told me not just leave this school, but leave the education system. He said to me, even during that entire time, this is a year after, during that entire time, he said to me, do you see all that I have provided for you? Do you see how you're able to affect the masses? You can't do this within 4 walls. You got to leave. And of course, as we often do, I'm not listening. I'm like, God, I can't leave right now. Like I got stuff to do. Like I set up all these programs. Understand that I was such a force in any area that I was in, that I was creating spaces that I didn't feel like anyone could take over. So I had created social emotional learning classes. I created the girls basketball program, the tech program. I was a STEM researcher at the time. I was the DEI lead, was diversity and inclusion, telling white people how to treat our kids. My favorite thing to do during that time. I was doing all of this stuff that I was the lead on. And I was like, God, I can't just walk away from something I started. There's no one to take it over. And then that moment hit me and I was like, wow. They don't even care. They don't even care that I did all of this. And I'm sitting there, look, 27 years old, like, wow, okay. And I went home and I cried. I cried hard because I'm passionate about kids. I'm passionate about my families. And I had been with them for 6 years at this point. So when I say I was with my families, I'm auntie at this point. I'm big sister at this point. They still call me. I'm nowhere near where that school is, but I had to leave. And so I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to not just going to go and tell my principal I'm gone? Like, what am I supposed to do? And this is where quiet quitting started happening. I literally started doing just what my job said to do. I told that CEO, I said, I'm going back to my classroom. I'm going back to my kids and I'm going to teach my lessons. Oh, we appreciate you so much. And you know, that little voice in my head, I'm like, your appreciation don't mean shit to me because my paycheck ain't changed. My bank account ain't changed. And y'all had an opportunity. And this is the real thing for me. Y'all had an opportunity to show me just how much you appreciated me. And you gave me your ass to kiss and said, that's what you're supposed to do anyway. Basically, is what I got. So I decided to quit, right? I wound up going to my principal the next week. I wound up talking to my support team, people that were close to me, trying to battle through those emotions, what I needed to do. And this one woman, I'll never forget, her name is Rachel. I sat down and I talked to her, and she was a diversity and inclusion lead at the time. I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, right? Like I love my kids. And she said, listen, I love this entire network. I love everything that you've been doing, but you know what you need to do. And anyone at this school that has been around you, has been seeing the work that you've done. And if they question why you're leaving, You already know what time it is. You need to make the decision, and you just need to be honest about it. So I did. I went to my principal the next week and I told her, I said, listen, it's time for me to go. She's like, I felt it was coming. And of course, in my head, I'm like, bitch, what you mean you felt it was coming? Like, what you're saying is you didn't want me to be here anymore, right? But even through that action of quiet quitting, y'all know that when I left, half the other teachers left. Only maybe 3 other teachers that were still working with me at that time remained at the school. I don't think they're there anymore either at this point. But I get these messages like, thank you. Thank you for leaving. You leaving gave me the encouragement to leave. Like, you literally, and they'll tell me, like, I pulled a life today and said, F it, I'm gone. Like, because you realize that you're giving so much of your talent, and in a space like education, it'll be used. It'll be used until you're dry in the ground, till you can't do anymore. And now they're looking at you like, what do you mean you're depressed? What do you mean you can't come to work? What do you mean you're not eating? You're doing such great work with these kids. But I'm still a human, and I still have other things outside of this job, which I needed in that mindset to recognize this is a job. This is not my life. That sometimes when you become a teacher, when you're working in that kind of area, you forget that this school building is an institution. It's a place for me to get money. This is a place for me to sustain my life. Even though my passion is working with younger humans and making this thing happen, I still have to sustain myself. So I left, and I would say it was the best decision I ever made for my life, because now the same thing that God told me, I'm bigger than these 4 walls. I'm now able to take all that energy I was giving to one area to the masses at this point. I work with nonprofits and schools across the United States, building their tech curriculum, building their teachers, giving them what they need that I could not in that one silos community do at the level that I'm doing right now. But it took for me to quietly quit and then loudly quit.
I say. And you know, and y'all drop ones in the chat if we're telling your stories, right? Like, this is in healthcare, this is in education, this is in music, this is in corporate. Like, we could go on, this is in nonprofit, right? Like, this is a system, baby. This is a system. We have been cargo, we have been cattle, we have been tools. Like, this is a system, right? They think we can't feel pain, so we dying more than anybody giving, you know, like, exposure you can't boil exposure in water and feed your family with it, right? Like, the CEO knowing your name does not translate into money in your bank account. That stuff does not matter. It does not matter. And we have to decide, like Rakita said, to have a life. Like, it's about more than surviving, bruh. Like, are you spending time with your babies? Are you healthy for real? Do you have relationships with people? Are you smelling the roses? Are you going on vacation? Like, we're not tools. Like, this is birthright stuff. This is not even like extraordinary. This is birthright stuff. Love it, ladies. I know we have a lot to cover. Tamara, before I go, I want to see, do you have anything you want to add, or are you good, mama?
Yes, absolutely. Really quick. When it comes to quiet quitting, you're really protecting your mental health. So before you start thinking about somebody else, think about yourself. I know it's hard to say because like we are naturally care for everyone else, but you can only care so much. You can only do so much for everyone else. And what happens when your cup is empty? Who's going to fill that cup for you? You have to make sure that your cup is at least halfway full if you're going to still, give to anyone else. But when I think of quiet quitting, just think about your peace, think about your health, your mental health. You got to stay sane for this world,
I say. Rest is an act of tactical warfare. Like, how you gonna beat the system and you burnt out and tired? Like, y'all better get yours. Listen. Okay, love it. So I want to turn up the heat a little bit. Many of us were raised in homes where we were taught how to navigate, this unfair world, right? This world that bends to white supremacy, right? And after the anger and reflecting, I realized like my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents were just trying to keep me alive, right? Like, they were just trying to make sure my Black brothers came home, so they weren't trying to make us cower down. They were just trying to keep us alive. But many of us have decided today, right? And they've things have changed, right? Not that they're necessarily better, they're just different, right? Things are a little more discreet, right? So given that we are radical in different ways today, I want to ask you all a very pointed question. Do you believe that Black women can afford to quiet quit? And if we do, are we paying a price that's too high or not at all? I'm gonna say it again. So do you believe that Black women can? Let's start with you, Kayla. Uh-oh, did I cut off?
Yeah, repeat your sentence again.
Froze.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you believe that Black women can afford to quiet quit, right? And if we do you believe that the price we pay will be much too high or not at all? Kayla, we'll start with you.
I believe that Black women can do whatever you want to do. I don't believe that there's a price to be paid. I think that a Black woman that has full understanding and control over her own power can take over anything. Right. So this aspect of quiet quitting, naturally, when we go into any space, we take up the space, right? And someone is trying to dumb us down and make sure that we are not as big, not as powerful, not as strong or as intelligent as we are presenting ourselves to be. But if you are a Black woman that understands her power, understands what she comes to the table with, understands that she can rock this entire thing and walk away and the ship will fall. You can do absolutely anything at this point, right? I think that this aspect of white supremacy that we are breaking at this point, right? And even from the way that we talk, the way we dress, how our hair looks, how we present ourselves on the job is all built and rooted in white supremacy. And so when it comes down to it, everything that we do, we have to take that first thought and say, is this something that I need to do to survive? Or is this something that someone is placing on me to hold me back? Right? I'll even take the aspect of just myself. I am very much so tatted up. I have tattoos all over my body. I'm usually coming with very, very bright or extravagant colored hair. Y'all see me at a toned down state today, but it's either big red, big blues, big oranges, big pinks, because that's how I express myself. But I can also remember a time where, you know, the older generation didn't necessarily understand that, didn't understand how you could stand in front of children and look this way. And my real pushback was, I look like the people they see on TV. I look like they friends. I look like the people they aspire to be, and I connect with your kids. So there's no reason why my appearance, if it is not, you know, it's professional to white supremacy standards, is what I like to tell my kids, right? And it's like what I message out to people. So when you're doing this aspect of quiet quitting and you're thinking about, can I even do this? You have to look at what you're really talented in. There's something that I teach my clients called transferable skills. Everything that you're doing at your job right now is not so that you can build that organization up. You got to move your mindset from that. Everything you're doing in your 9 to 5 right now is a skill that you are building. Think of it like a video game. Right? The more that you work at something, the more skill points you get. The more skill points you get, the more you advance the skill, right? Now, you're not working this one job because you're going to stay here for the rest of your life, or at least you shouldn't. You should be working to say, oh, I just learned something new and I'm good at this. What can I do with this now? Where can I take this skill now? How much farther can I advance it? And understand that it might not be at the space that you're in right now. I don't shame anyone that works a 9 to 5 or works in a corporate position or wants to do that with their life, because some people, that is what it's built for. It's for you to thrive, but also understanding that unless you are in a position where you can make your own decisions, you're always going to be at the whim of whoever's organization that is. So can you quiet quit? Can you, say, I'm going to take my talents back and do what's best for me? Absolutely. Will it be detrimental to you? It depends on what your mindset is. If you're in a space that says, okay, if these people cannot just take me doing what my job description is, and I've got to work harder for no pay, then you already know what time it is. You got to get up out of there. You've got to go right now, quick, fast, in a hurry. But if you are in an organization that caters to you as a human being, as a Black woman, and understands it's not performative, right? Because they all gonna cater in a performance standpoint, but always looking at how I can improve this Black woman sitting next to me, then of course, let your talent shine. Go ahead and give them a little bit more if you are safe there. But you really have to understand what your safety looks like, both physically, mentally, and in your career field.
That's good. And I think that's a good insertion to this conversation, right? Like we can't talk about Black women quiet quitting and not talking about respectability politics, right? And not talk about Black exceptionalism that kills us, right? Because at the end of the day, even if it's not professional, it's just white culture. Even if you decide to try to scrub off the culture, right? And reflect theirs, right? Because they said that British suits are better, right? Because they said that slick hair is better, because they said that these movies are better than Boys in the Hood, right? That does not mean that you are more respected, that you're less Black, that you're less marginalized. So I love that. Like, that is exactly why I'm like, when people, I don't care if it's a $250,000 deal, well, I'm coming into a fintech company to shake some shit up, right? I come looking like I look. White boys in Silicon Valley do, right? Like, I don't gotta prove nothing to nobody. I come with my Southern twang. I know how to talk very, very, very smooth and even, right? But I don't change that anymore, right? Because I'm dope, I'm cold. It's your loss if I don't feel safe up in here because I'm out, right? I think that's so important to insert in this, because we got to stop performing too, right? If we really gonna take up the space that is important. Anyone else have anything to add on this question around, can Black women afford to quiet quit?
Yeah. Did you have something to add, Tamara? Okay, I think, is there a price to be paid for Black women to quiet quit? I think so. We don't all have the same desires. I know that due to Black exceptionalism, I thought that my goal was to be the HBIC. And once I started supervising like 40-something people who did 3 to 4 different roles, and I seen how that felt, that's not a lifestyle that I wanted. But for some of us, that's a lifestyle that we want. And not only that, we need some folks at the top making decisions at other institutions, other companies, other areas in life that affect other people of color. So we do need more folks at the top if that is your motivation. I wouldn't do it because of Black exceptionalism alone, or just being taught that you needed to be twice as better. We don't need to go up. I think I heard someone say, we don't need to go up. We can just vector out. So if your goal is to vector out, absolutely quietly quit. If your goal is to go up that corporate ladder, I would suggest setting some boundaries around when you do decide to do a little extra. Because quiet quitting is doing your job. And it is okay to be great within the parameters of your job. But leadership, no matter where you go, is looking for people who go above and beyond. So maybe you put that on your calendar when you go above and beyond. Maybe you're going to plan a Christmas party and that's your above and beyond that year, right? You pick and choose. You quietly quit during the downtimes of your organization. So finding that balance that works for you. But if we are quiet quitting, who's moving up? Who's moving up? Because even in your own organizations, you look for people who got your back. You look for people that every time you throw them the ball, they got you. It's like that in any other business. So the Black woman trying to be vice president, CEO somewhere, figure out when and how you're going to quiet quit, but you can't do it all day, every day, because we need you.
I love the diversity of perspective, right? Yeah, lying. When they taught us how to play the game, you are basically saying that there are rules to that shit, right? Like, regardless of what we decide to do, right? There are rules to that shit. Now, I do believe that the rules are different for white men versus Black women, right? I think that that's a huge gap. I do, because I've seen it in corporate, right? It is who you know. They can be dumb as a doorknob. I stand on that with both feet, 10 toes down. They can be dumb as a doorknob, but because who they know, they can occupy that space. And very smart people that they hire will get the job done. And that's not been the case thus far for Black women. As a matter of fact, she has to be triple sure that when she hires other Black folk, that they off the chain so that she don't lose her job. Like, it's the playing feeling good, right? And so I agree. Like, that is what we are living in today. Like, to make Forbes list and all these other things, like, we have to be exceptional. I would just say that I think the goalposts have to change, right? Like, I think that when we are standing up, 17% of all Black women today are starting new businesses. 17%. That number is as of February 2022. Okay, that's almost 1 in 5. So that means that we Black women specifically, I'm not just talking about the Black race. That means that Black women specifically have an opportunity to create new culture. you know, like where we give raises because you cold, like your creativity is cold, not because you bled in your knuckles for me, right? Where I'm gonna make provisions for you because you're having a baby, right? Like not because you have preeclampsia and you about to die, you know, like I think because we're the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the entire country of the United States, right? 42% of all new businesses created by women every day are started by Black women. Like these numbers are correct. Like I hope y'all know that this is unprecedented, right? Like we actually have the opportunity to create our own culture and literally say y'all are irrelevant. Like literally, what minority? Who? What? How? Show me that. Show me the statistics, right?
Can I add to your point really quick? Because you even bringing that up, that we have the ability to create our own culture right now, that is so powerful for you to say. It's even more confirmation for me that I need to keep doing what I'm doing, for the simple fact that Rebrand Land alone, I'm just taking this one organization. I have 6 executives, okay? 6 people on my team that I feel like are on my same level. There is no tier system. We're in a round table circle when we handle our clients, right? But these 6 different executives, they have their own business. And I actually encourage that they still work on their own business while they're partnering with me in Rebrand Land. Because the way that my mindset works and breaking up that, oh, we can't all rise to the top at the same time. And if you work with me, you can't work nowhere else. And now there's this new term called overemployment. What the hell does that even mean? You're overemployed and you're spending too much time with other places. I don't believe in that. And so what I told my executives is, and when we have our next upcoming meeting, like, I want you to continue to work on your own business. And if you need my help, I got you. Because the area that and the culture that I'm building around the business is that this piece of land, Rebrand Land, this piece of rebranding, you can go in and work with our copywriter. You can go in and work with our CFO. You can go in and work with our graphic designer, work with all these individuals, and understand that if you don't want to use the Rebrand Land package, they got their own business and you could just use them individually. Because what I'm doing is putting money back into their pocket, back into their business, and then putting money back into mine. There's an easy way to figure out how to build our own culture. And I'll tell you that when I presented this idea to a white man, he's like, so they're just going to steal all your money. I was like, yeah, you don't get it. You don't get it. Because my team has integrity, my team has honesty, my team is going to make sure that no matter what happens with them, it's also happening with me, and we're just transferring that energy over. Because what we've been taught is that you can't work in this one position and I can't be CEO here and CEO there and CEO there. I can't be, this person here and for this organization and for this one because of competition. All of that's fake. All of it's fake, because at the end of the day, whoever chooses Rebrand Land, they found themselves here. If they choose somebody else, they found themselves there. And it does not take it out of my pocket because they were never meant to be a client of mine in the first place. Do you get what I'm saying? So I love the fact that you even brought up that aspect of we have the ability right now to change our culture, to do something completely different. I sat down in a team meeting just last night and said the same thing with the school that I'm building. I said, every aspect of what you thought a school was, throw it away because we're not doing that here. And so now with us having a clean slate, just a blank canvas, we're going to take all of our skills and all of our knowledge and put it here and build a brand new school, build something completely different. So I love that. Thank you for even bringing that up and giving me that confirmation that I'm on the right track.
Ashe, sis. Ashe. The goalposts have to move. Like, we can't perpetuate white supremacy. That's wild if we do. Dope.
I kind of want to interject really quick because, like, I want people to understand that it's all about perspective. So if you feel like, okay, I'm going to lose something if I quiet quit, then that's just what's going to happen in your mind. But if you feel like you're going to gain something by quiet quitting, then you're going to gain a lot. But when you do these 9-to-5s, understand that you're going to be in a cage. You might find people that can help, but automatically you're going to be in a cage. Compared to entrepreneurship, you're going to meet a lot of people that want to help you, but they have to see you and understand that you need help. So once you quiet quit, a lot of people are going to acknowledge you and see you for the brand that you created compared to you working for someone else. They're just going to see you a part of their brand, like someone else's brand, not yours.
Shay. And I take it to mean, I think that's good, right? Like, what do you want to do in exchange? Like, our auntie Maxine said, reclaiming my time. Like, yeah, like, what are you going to do with that energy you get back, with that time you get back, with that clarity you get back, with that, you know? And I think we're seeing a migration. I haven't seen numbers on Black women yet, but there was the great resignation during the pandemic, right? Where a lot of people quit when entrepreneurship. That is reversing. Again, I haven't seen the numbers on Black women specifically, but I can see it anecdotally that Black women too, right, are going back because they need that extra capital, right, to fund their businesses, et cetera. And so I think that's really good to keep in mind, right? Like when we go back, if you still believe in this brand, if you still believe in this vision, if this is just a means to an end, don't work yourself to the bone and then your business flop. Like remember what you're doing it for, right? Because energy is currency too, right? It's, I would say, a higher form of currency than green. Love that. Thank you, Tamara. So I already mentioned, right, that, 17% of Black women are starting or running new businesses. So these are not mature businesses. These are not in the growth stage. These are like brand new. And so for those who are in the audience listening, right, who are at that beginning stage, right, can you ladies please share some of the things that you've gained, right, in entrepreneurship for yourselves outside of the 9 to 5? Let's kick it back to you, Tamara. What have you gained in entrepreneurship outside of the 9 to 5?
I've gained patience, ironically, a lot of knowledge, and another thing that I've gained was just experience. You're not going to get the same experience working a 9 to 5 compared to doing entrepreneurship. Once you jump into the entrepreneurship, you're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to get invited to a lot of events, and you just have to break out that shell and just be like, you know what, just go for it. And that's what I did. I just go for it. I just run. Because once you do, like when you're doing a 9 to 5, you can't run as fast as you want to. Compared to entrepreneurship, you can time yourself. Okay, I'm going to get this done at this time. I'm going to get this done at that time. But it's all at your own pace. It's the best experience ever, honestly.
Asha, love that. Kayla, what would you add?
Peace of mind. I gained the ability to live so far outside the box and let everything that I am talented in shine and be profitable in it. Like I say often that I realized very quickly into entrepreneurship that my passion wasn't my calling. I'm passionate about kids, but I'm not called to be there. My calling is to create spaces. And so now in entrepreneurship, I'm doing just that. I'm creating spaces. I'm working with visionaries and legacy builders that, needed someone similar to me that needed just someone to say, hey, write that down. This is what the pathway is. This is what the strategy is. This is how you can get it. You know what? I know someone that knows someone that can get you to where you need. Like, here's your connection. Here's your network. I gained community. There's a community that I didn't even know that was out there, and I speak about this often, especially if those that are in the crowd that are transitioning teachers. Listen, if you are transitioning out of education, the first thing you need to do is find a community. Find people that are doing similar to the same things as you, because you're going to feel very lonely. It's very different from going into a school building every day, seeing the same teachers, same kids, same families. You know exactly what's going on there. Now you're in the big open world and you're like, so what am I supposed to do? Find a group. Find a group of individuals that you can merge with, right? And you might not even stick with that group because that's what growth feels like, right? That might be the group that you're in for that time period. At this point, I've been full-time entrepreneurship for going on 3 years. And at this point, I've been in so many different groups, so many different communities, met so many dope, amazing people that are super, super talented and doing things I have never even heard of before, because my present community or my past community did not expose me to those type of things. So now I feel like I'm going through what I took my kids through, exposing them. So now I'm getting all this exposure to all these different talents, things I didn't know existed, people that are building indestructible books. Like, what is that? Like, how is that even a thing? And I think that it's amazing. But I also gained a lot of clarity on what my real goal here on this planet is, like what God has me here to do and what he has me here to be. What I thought in the past was, and oftentimes, you know, a lot of us going into that 9-to-5 world may think this as well. This is what we've been taught. I got to do something that's going to make me money and get a 401k and do this to keep my family afloat. When that's not the goal. The goal is to really, truly build generational wealth with my talents and my skills. And that generational wealth doesn't mean that it lasts for this generation or my kids or their kids. This is for my grandbabies' babies. Like, I'm doing this to make sure that when my grandbabies, babies, cousins come up, they can do whatever and have whatever pathway they want and not have to fall into this mindset that I've got to go into a 9-to-5 to survive, that I've got to do this to make some money. But they great-great-great-grandmother, Kayla Life, set this up so that they can live just amongst the rest of them and having a choice on what they want to do. And oftentimes, even in our culture, we're not presented with a choice. We're not presented with an option. Even when it's coming to, you know, going into higher education, going to college, doing this. I know many of us, you know, similar to my own story, college wasn't an option. It's what you did. Like, you went to school, you graduated, you went to college, you got a job, and that was it. There was no other pathway for you. When that's not necessarily the truth. I can only think about if someone catered to my entrepreneurial spirit that I've had since I was a child, you know, that they called what they call me a Jamaican hustler is what they call me. Y'all, I'm not Jamaican at all. There's just stereotypes. Like, you see where that comes from. Even our own people place that stereotype on us. Why? Because I was realizing at a very young age that I could not, there were so many things that I wanted to put my hands on. There's so many things that I was good at and talented at that someone was telling me, you can't do all of that right now. You've got to do one thing. And now here I am in my 30s doing everything I'm talented in. I'm an author. I love tech. I'm diving deep into that. I love design. I'm diving deep into that. I love coaching. I do that. I do all of that. And I'm not burnt out. I'm not stressed out. I do have moments where I'm like, oh, I got to take a break. It's exhausting, right? But that is time that I've given myself, and no one's telling me you can only take a break during fall break. You can only take a break during winter break. Oh, you've got this PTO, make sure you don't use it on a day that is a blackout day for us because we've got testing. I can do that whenever I feel like it. And so now complete peace of mind. I know I'm doing everything that I've been called to do. And every time that I have, I'm letting it shine because it's important to me.
Ashe, that's good. And Rakita, what about you? What have you gained in entrepreneurship outside of the 9-to-5?
The things I gained are things that I had glimpses of in my 9-to-5, especially with my flexible schedules, but I didn't realize that I didn't like fully have it into entrepreneurship. I gained ownership over my time. Like, I have the pleasure and privilege of being present in my life. Whatever that means for the day, the moment, or whatever, and being present with my family. I have ownership over my creativity. Like, there are no no's, okay? If I green light it, I green light it. So that feels really good because I've started a co-working community. Like you said, Kayla, you need a community of folks when you transition out of that 9-to-5. So just even having the creativity to create Kinfolk Collective for business owners of color. And I always feel like I'm getting paid what I'm worth. Even if I decide to go off of the price sheet, there's a reason why I went lower for this organization or this group or these people. Like, so I never feel like, I feel like at work, I always was like, I'm not getting paid for this shit. That's not my ministry and that's not my lane. That was always at work. You know what I mean? And that's not it now. Like, I left my full-time job in May this year and I haven't missed a paycheck. You know what I mean? I always feel like I'm getting paid what I'm worth. And no matter what no matter what the price is, everyone's always going to get a quality product from me because my best is different every day. And because I have ownership over my time, I can schedule and get things done in a way that feels good for me and feels good for my strengths. And that is never anything that I had in a 9 to 5. Even when I thought I had a flexible schedule, it wasn't nothing on it. It ain't had nothing on this.
I love, 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 love that. And I love the way you ladies smile when you talk about, you know, what you have, holding with both hands, right? In entrepreneurship. Yeah, I see myself in all of your stories, and I say, you know, what it was for me or what it is for me is freedom, you know, like true freedom. Like my mental health has never been better, and I've struggled with mental health, you know, my ability to be present, like Rakita is saying, you know, my ability to build things that last beyond me, like Kayla is saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's beautiful. My mom was murdered when she was 21. I was 1, right? And my granddaddy, he was hard working, smart like my mama, you know what I'm saying? And my mama like him, but he killed himself. He literally worked himself to death. And I literally saw myself in this. I thought about when the heart attack was going to come because I'm working so many hours. I thought about, you know, when I was going to have a mental episode that I couldn't come back from because I kept pushing myself past my limits, right? And like to now feel free, you know, to now take a month off, calendar closed, go to an exotic country I've never been in before, and just, I know I can, you know, to know that I can take many retirements every 3 years and take a year or 2 or 3 off, you know, like it is beautiful. So I say to what y'all are saying. And Tamara, I love that you started this off with the community aspect, because so many people still today, right, like still feel isolated and alone in entrepreneurship. And y'all, we got to stop fronting. We got to stop faking until we make it. Like we got to lead with vulnerability. You know, I know that safe spaces are out there. Like, ask for what you need. Say, I don't know what the hell going on. You know, say I'm staying up at night because I don't know where the dollars gonna come from, right? So that people can hug on you and love on you, man. So good, ladies. And man, I'm sad that this is wrapping. This feels like some warm chocolate cake with ice cream on the side. Y'all are so dope. So the theme of the summit, right, is no longer my burden, right? And it's very closely aligned, I would say, with this concept of quiet quitting, especially when you think about what it can mean in the context of our personal lives and businesses, right? So what boundaries would you say that you've started to set in order inside of your business to protect your own well-being? Rakita, let's start with you.
Girl, how much time you got? I'm the queen of boundaries. I will tell you no first and then circle back around if my energy changes, okay? But one of my very firm boundaries is I don't work on Mondays. I don't accept meetings on Mondays. I don't set reoccurring things on Mondays. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I schedule CEO days. I'm a part of this group called Speaking for Profit, and it really just focuses on how to build a scalable, profitable business and also maintain rest and restoration and balance, you know? So I have CEO days where I just conquer my admin things. So Casey, I can't wait to start conquering them financials since I've been doing the free founder webinar series. And I have wellness CEO days where I just focus on the personal well-being of the CEO in my life, which is me. So I had a wellness CEO day this Wednesday, and I had an in-home massage, and I read, and I connected with a friend. So that feels good. And I don't work on Saturdays unless it's an event or something. Like I absolutely do not work on Saturdays. And because I have the co-working group, I have designated times throughout the month that are on a calendar where I work. Folks can pull up and join me, but if no one shows up, I still got them 4 hours to just knock my stuff out. And being social with friends, like sometimes, depending on who it is, I'm like, my firm boundary is I'm bringing my laptop. Like I can create this Canva presentation while we talk. Like I got to be able, it got to be a twofer type of situation. I love you, sis, but I got to be able to put this flyer together while you give me the tea. You feel me? Like, give me the tea and then let me work on my project. So those are some of the boundaries that I've put in so that folks know, like, we had a family picnic. We picnicking all day. My iPad is coming. I gotta look at some analytics real quick because I could do these at the same time. Like, we've been told they have to be mutually exclusive, and I'm not trying to be like in my stuff like you see on the movies, just but I can have a sangria and work on this presentation and have a conversation with you. So having really firm boundaries around when I'm working and when I'm not working and how work looks for me is, I'm not bending on it.
Love that. You so dope, sis. You so dope. Love that. Tamara, what about you? What boundaries have you set in your business?
Let me tell you something. When I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I could not balance the being the Tamara for everyone else and being the CEO for my business. So one thing for certain that I set that boundary on is my business has to come first, because I have a goal, I have a vision, I have a mission for my, not only my brand, but this is perpetual. I have to give something to my kids. So I used to always beat myself up because they're like, hey, we're going to turn up, we're going to the party tonight. And I'm like, no, I need to work my business. So that boundary was like, yo, I can't hang with my friends and my family like the way I used to, and just being always there for them, because I'm like, I have to be there for my business now. So it's like, you can not have a boundary. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, days be slipping. You see, this month alone is already gone. So when you decide to just be like, okay, you want to be that person for someone else and just be there for them and listen. And another thing, the boundary is when phone calls. If it's not about the business or perpetuating the business, making sure it goes through, because I know a lot of people want to vent to you. I don't know about y'all, but I got a vent to me on my forehead. You got to put a stop to that. Any gossiping, any venting, you have to just be like, no, boundary mode, because that is tiring. That is time consuming. You know, those conversations be lasting for like 45 minutes to an hour to like 2 hours, you know what I'm saying? Just because they want to talk about their life. And it's like, it's not like you don't care for them or care about their life, but them 2 hours would have meant a lot to your business compared to you having a conversation with whoever, you know? So you have to be like, yo, this business has to come first. No offense to you. If it is important, talk to me on the weekend. But don't schedule your times to yourself and for your business. And also like self-care as well. You really got to place a boundary for that. If you don't take care of yourself, it's going to show in your business. It's going to show. If you looking chaotic and crazy, that business is going to look chaotic and crazy. So when you really need to focus on that boundary, and it's okay to say no. Hey, can you do this for me? No, I can't. I actually can't do it because I'm doing something else right now, especially if you already have that schedule planned for yourself. It's okay to say no. They'll be okay. They ask someone else. It's okay.
It's funny. When I went to entrepreneurship, the number of calls I got in the middle of the day, especially from a family, like, you don't got no job, girl, let me tell you. I'm like, love that. And then Kayla, what about you? What boundaries have you set in your business?
I think that even the theme of the conference being no longer my burden, the thing that keeps ringing for me is that I'm no longer the burden of other people's perception. So whatever you've perceived me to be before I stepped into this entrepreneurship journey, or even beforehand, I'm not that. I am exactly who I am, and as Kayla J. Life, the main character of this story. And with me being the main character of my story, my boundaries look like me setting heavy boundaries with myself first, right? Like, I am an overworker. I am someone that will like go very, very hard, especially if you have a vision for the way your business is supposed to go. You find yourself not even breaking away from the vision sometimes. But in those aspects of even God, even Jesus had to go into the desert and be alone in silo. And sometimes I need that too. So boundaries I've set for myself. I realized as an educator, I was graced with spring break, fall break, winter break, all these different breaks that were planned into my schedule. So I knew exactly when I could shut off, when I can like be with my family, when I can go and do that. As an entrepreneur, I was in charge of that. So naturally I set none because I was going very hard into my vision and my business and what I was doing. And as my good friend Jasmine said, she said, you normalized your burnout and that's not okay. And I was like, damn, you in my business? You right. And so I sat down and I said, all right, now that I'm planning out, if you are an entrepreneur and you're thinking about taking this to the next level, if you're really building a legacy, you should be planning by the year, not by the quarter. So I plan by the year, and my year looks like every month I have a week to myself. And I call it my blackout week. It's the week that I do nothing but what I want to do. I don't set terms for what that week looks like. I don't say, oh, I'm just not going to touch it. This is whatever I want to do in this week. If I decide I want to pick up something for Rebrand Land, I'll do that. If I decide that I want to just kick it and play video games all day, I'll do that too. Like, it just depends on how I feel. But that's my week of just complete choice. Because I'm a service provider, because I am giving a lot of my energy and time 300% to my clients and my business and their legacies, I have to take that week to myself. Very similar to Rakita, I also don't work on Mondays. I don't work on Sundays, right? You got me from Tuesday to Saturday, maybe, right? Because sometimes Saturday, I'll go ahead and knock that off, and maybe I've done too much that week. But that's for me to say, hey, this is just my time to get back in life. I don't speak to nobody before 11 o'clock at all. I am a morning person, but I'm a morning person for me. I'm not a morning person for other people. So I realized that going into entrepreneurship, that wow, I was so high energy because I was in the school and the kids needed to see me excited and happy at 7 a.m. But nobody need to see that from me. I can relax, right? Like, if I want to do what I need to do, I just want to talk with myself and maybe the dog for a second, and then I'm good, right? Like, I don't want to do nothing else. Another boundary that I set is making sure, and this is probably something that a lot of other people have experienced, as even though we sit at a round table, I'm still the leader of the ship, right? I'm letting nobody play with my team, period. I'm letting no one come in and talk to them crazy. It doesn't happen here, because I recognize that even as a 9-to-5 worker working in education, one of the things I always wanted from my leadership team was someone to have my back, because you knew that I was doing what was right, right? But you were so afraid of what the families would say, what the other parents would say, that I always fell to the back burner when I was just doing the right thing. So now I make sure, if you got a strife with someone on my team, or you didn't like the way something went, come see me. Talk to me, right? I don't give them that battle, because I don't feel like it's their battle to fight. As someone that is in support of them, I'm not going to let anybody ever play with them or their business or their brand or their work ethic, which is what keeps them around, because they know at the end of the day, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to make sure that you do what needs to be done, right? But I'm also not going to let anyone that is disgruntled for whatever reason come into this place and tear your name down because they had a bad day that day. You know what I'm saying? So I make sure that with my team. Another boundary that I set is making sure that I do reconnect with my family. I am a overworker, as I'll keep stating, like I do a lot. I'm always on 200, 300%. And so, my clients laugh at me because if you see me bopping around, it's because I have like 7 different screens in front of me. My ADHD allows me to do that. But my clients will say, like, how many screens are you looking at today? And I'm like, just only 3 of them on today. Or it's only 7 of them on today. But it does keep me here. It keeps me here at my desk, because I can get so much done at one time. Now I've learned that at 7 o'clock, when the sun goes down, I'm in Atlanta, y'all. Sun goes down around 7 around these parts. When the sun goes down, I'm down. No more computer. No more any of these screens. I've moved away from this because it's a boundary and an act of discipline I needed to set. I don't need to be here all hours of the day to get something done, because essentially what I'm doing is wearing my brain down. And everything, I need this. This is my money maker up here in this cranium. This is what's going to keep the ship floating. This is going to keep my clients happy. If this is not working, I'm no good to anybody. So I have to shut that entire thing down. And I learned that from a fast that I went on. I realized that around like 7 o'clock, I am exhausted. I am ready to go to bed. I am ready to reconnect. I then realized at that point, oh, wow, you probably need to eat food today. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. So making sure that I honor myself in those manners, but also the boundary that I set is honoring my own emotions. I think a lot of us, even as Black women, we're thinking the talk we're over emotional or not emotional enough, or the main emotion that's placed on us is aggressive. I'm all those things. I'm aggressive. I'm aggressive about this work. I'm aggressive about what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm compulsive. All of those are a piece of who I am. And I'm breaking away from that negative connotation that people put on those words and placed on me to make me feel like I had to operate in one setting. So if I'm sitting in a meeting with a client and I feel emotional, I'm going to cry. And I encourage my clients to do the same. There's no longer a space where you have to hide who you are, because that's not what it means to be the main character. Being the main character means catering to who exactly you are. I'm emotional. I cry. I get upset. There's things that happen. The only problem that comes into play is if I try to make my emotion somebody else's emotion. I'll now put that on them. Now, because I'm upset, you've got to be upset. Or now because I'm happy, you've got to be happy. That's not the truth. I can live and exist in everything that I feel. I can deal with it, and I can move on with it. Right. And that's no longer a point where I was working in a 9 to 5, I'm standing in front of the classroom like, oh, wow, I can't cry right now. I can't cry right now. I've got to get someone to get in my class. I got to go run out real quick, because emotions hit us very quickly. Sometimes there is no rhyme or reason. Baby, I could have looked at something out the window, would have reminded me of something that happened when I was 3 years old. Now I want to cry, right? And I can do that in my setting now. I take time to honor how I feel, because real talk, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, entrepreneurship is nothing but a healing journey. It is a journey to heal all of those things that have been placed on you from a child till now. And now you're recognizing in your full strength, in your full power, just who you are. And so I had to sit with myself and say, well, who am I? I'm passionate, but I am emotional. You know, I had someone that for 6 years working at that school made fun of me every time I cried. And of course, it had me like, dang, I can't be emotional until that last point, that quiet quitting, when that happened. She said it to me one more time. I said, I'm going to cry because I feel like crying. Something sad just happened. Something happy just happened, and I feel like shedding a tear. And this is who I am. So I'm going to do it. Watch. And I proceeded to cry, right? Because that was me taking my own power back. But this is what entrepreneurship is. It's about healing, getting in tune with who you are, and taking control over your life.
Ashe, so beautiful. Thank you, ladies, for being vulnerable enough to share, right, what boundaries you had to put in place to protect your well-being. So we have to mosey on out of here. The time has wound down. I appreciate each of you for sharing your individual perspectives, your journeys, right? The things you're still working on. And in closing, I would ask that each of you share 3 words, just 3 words that you would like to leave with entrepreneurs who are listening, who are trying to establish boundaries for their own well-being. Right? What 3 words would you leave for entrepreneurs who are trying to establish boundaries for their own well-being? Rakita.
I am important.
Ashe, 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 Ashe. Good. Samara.
I am enough.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And Kayla.
Faith, truth, and passion.
Ashe. So good, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. You are loved, you are light, you should be protected at all costs. If I got anything to do with it, I sure damn will. Thank you so much for being with us today. Everyone listening, keep it locked. We have more where this has come from. Thank you so much.